Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Barely There podcast. This is 4-Star Chicago Sports, and today we had Camp Day 7. We got a couple of big battles we got to talk about. That cornerback battle right next to Jalen Johnson is firing up with 3 names, and we're going to break them down and see what you guys like and what we think. I think it's only 2. We'll see what the boys here with me think. And then, of course, we're going to get into some fantasy football rankings because guess what? That is right around the corner. Most drafts within 3 weeks. We're going to get you set up. We're going to get you prepared. We're on fire tonight, so lock it in, strap it in, and we'll see you right after this. Hello again, everybody. Welcome to the Barely There podcast. I got a little choked up there. I got Jay and Kyle in the house, and we got a fun-packed show for you. We're going to review Camp Day 7 right now, and we'll get into this, but I got to check in with my boys. How y'all doing today?
Doing great, dude. Surprisingly not hungover after darts on Tuesday, so that's a good thing. Other than that, just a regular old Wednesday. How about Kyle? How about you?
Doing good, man. I wish it wasn't raining outside on one of my only days off of the week. But besides that, I'm doing all right, man. Not much going on at Bears training camp, but certainly ramping up a little bit and get close for football season.
Oh, yeah. And as we talk about Bears training camp today, it was a non-padded practice. It was mostly a red zone day at practice. It was a scheduled day off for Braxton Jones. But one of my biggest fears and worries has already happened 7 days into camp as Jonah Jackson is dealing with some kind of a leg injury. He has been listed by the Chicago Bears as day 2 day. And before we move on, I just want to get you in tune at what the Bears have scheduled this week. Thursday, tomorrow will be a full padded practice, a mandatory day off on Friday. It's going to be a light full padded practice on Saturday ahead of Family Fest at Soldier Field, where the Bears will also be in full pads in front of the home crowd on the lakefront. So, boys, coming off that scheduled rest day, and no Jonah Jackson. There was also no signs today of Shamar Turner, Zay Frazier, who's still out for personal reasons, Bill Murray, and Ricky Stromberg. So we've talked about this depth on the offensive line. Now we're missing Bill Murray. Now we have Jonah Jackson on the shelf. And it does look like, though, one man who missed all of practice last year has not missed any practice this year, and that would be one Ryan Bates. So, boys, before we move on to training camp, give me some thoughts on this banged-up offensive line.
You know, you'd never want to see anybody get injured at any point in the season, especially this newly revamped offensive line that you paid a lot of money for. I will tell you this. I think sometimes in the preseason, especially with veterans, if a guy has any sign of an injury, you're sitting out. There's no point in us hurting you for the rest of the season. I think if this was week 3 or 4, you'd probably see Jonah Jackson in there. I'm a little bit more worried about Shamar Turner because he's going to be out for a while. We'll see, man. I hope it seems like the training staff so far has done a fairly decent job, especially getting Loveland back on the field and getting Burden back on the field. So and Braxton Jones has been back on the field. So I think the staff has been doing a decent enough job. I don't think there's anything wrong there. I just hope it's more caution than it is actual real severe injuries.
Yeah, I think they're always going to be overly cautious in training camp. I just don't think there's any risk any reason to risk further injury to any of these players. But yeah, I mean, Sean, if right now, I'm not worried about any of it. But if you're talking about week 1 and you had these 3 names on the injured report for week 1 and there's 3 offensive linemen, yeah, it'd certainly be concerning because I don't believe the Bears have that much depth at offensive line to begin with. Now, obviously, we don't know what guys like Luke Newman are going to offer. We really still don't know what guys like Ryan Bates are going to offer since he was basically injured all last year. But yeah, I mean, I think the Bears have a good starting offensive line, once you start dealing with injuries and getting into some of those second string players, there's probably going to be some hiccups in this game plan. So, yeah, you'd certainly like to see some of these guys get back healthy before they get into these joint practices and these preseason games for sure.
And one last thing to add about the offensive line, I watched this Bleacher Report show with Michael Jr. and Peanut Tillman, and Tillman had said, "Hey man, I saw the offensive linemen walking out as a team." He goes, "I did not see that last year at all."
Mm-hmm. That Bleacher Report thing with Tillman was awesome.
No matter who's in there, so that's good.
It was an hour and 22 minutes. I only got through about the first 30, so I got to catch up to the rest of that one.
The interviews are at the end. They're really
That'll
good.
be us guys. We'll be sitting recliners in front of the house.
I will tell you this, though. The one thing I did see, and this was speculation from all of us, and not speculation because the Bears kind of did say this is going to be their plan, but Luke Newman was on the line taking snaps at center. He wasn't on the line of scrimmage. He was working off to the side, working on his
individual drills.
Things, yeah, individual drills. So that was really nice to see. Some other things that we did see were some explosion from a couple of people that we were waiting to see. So let's check out this clip right here. I forgot to label them, so we're going to look at them both, and then we'll break them down because I don't remember which one's which. And for those who didn't see that, that was Luther Burden, and he did burn Kyler Gordon by all accounts. From everything that I read today, he destroyed Kyler Gordon on that play. So all the Bears fans that were worried about Luther Burden, he's starting to show that speed, that athleticism, that burst that we all thought he had. This second one is going to lead us into Caleb talking about this gentleman. This was an option replay with Colston Loveland as the lead blocker. And then they asked Caleb about him, and this is what he had to say.
He's a smart cat. We've hung out a few times. We actually just him and a couple other teammates, we went down to the city on our off day and had dinner and things like that. So we're hanging out, building that bond, building that trust, and on the field wise, like I said, he's smart. He knows what he's doing. He's a young cat, so there's going to be a few mistakes and things like that, and maybe hand placement. But when the ball goes up and things like that, I got all faith in him. The other day I actually threw a ball down the middle to him, and the ball kind of slipped out of my hand. It was a little sweaty, and I kind of raised up because I knew the ball was slipping on my hand after, and he went up and grabbed it and came down with it. It was a big.
So the one thing, and this was per Brad Biggs today because I was having a hard time finding some things, but he did say that going into today's practice, the seventh day, the pre-snap operation was much crisper from the outset. The Bears want Williams to become better at his reads, help him with his faster decisions so he can play more efficiently from the pocket. But the one thing that I'm really excited about, because, Kyle, I know you were kind of on that same boat with me a little skeptical about Colston Loveland coming in, if he was going to be that dynamic individual. Everything that we've seen thus far, he kind of looks like he's fitting that role of a dynamic playmaker in this offense. From what you've seen so far, Kyle, what are your thoughts? Because I know me and you were kind of on that same page of Colston Loveland.
I wouldn't say I was ever skeptical that Colston Loveland's going to be a good player in the NFL. I've just heard people talk comparing him to players like Travis Kelce, and all I was saying is, hey, everybody temper your expectations a little bit. Like, I like Colston Loveland a lot, but if you look at his college stats, they're certainly not matched anything close to Travis Kelce in the NFL. Or even George Kittle or anything like that. But yeah, Sean, the one thing I did say about Colston Loveland over and over again, and we're hearing it more and more coming out of training camp, is he's an excellent route runner. He was, by all accounts, probably the third best route runner in this draft behind guys like Xavier Restrepo and Emeka Egbuka. And it looks like to me, if you're watching the tape from training camp and you're listening to all the reporters, he is a really, really good route runner, and he's going to find open space in the NFL. I don't know how much they're going to use Colston Loveland in the blocking game. I don't know how much they're going to use Colston Loveland downfield as in terms of intermediate passes, in terms of screen passes. I don't know what they're going to move him outside. But, in terms of playing the role of tight end, it looks like he's pretty capable blocker, and he's really athletic guy who can get open, and that's what the quarterback loves, man. Quarterbacks love tight ends. That is their security blanket. That's the guy you go to when everything starts to fall apart. And right now, it looks like Colston Loveland's going to be a good player in this league. Is he going to be a star? That remains to be unknown. But at this point, I think he's doing everything that this team has asked him to do, and it looks like the shoulder is not bothering him in any way, shape, or form, guys.
Yeah.
Kyle, you're 100% right, and I was thinking about this with the rookies and the veterans being yelled at by Johnson for missed snaps and prior or pre-snap just basically snafus. And then Johnson, I think yesterday, or was it earlier today, had mentioned and actually literally pointed out Colston Loveland for how well he's picking up the offense, how well he studies, how hard he studies, like he's a perfectionist. He wants everything exactly. And I think he sees eye to eye. And I think Johnson's happy they drafted him. I know there was a lot of rumors that maybe, I wanted somebody else, maybe a running back or whatever, but I think he's really starting to like Colston Loveland. And when it comes to those pre-snap things, I think why he likes the perfectionist is, remember, the Bears started off the season 4-2, right? And then we basically lost 10 in a row. I think the whole league caught on to something the Bears were doing, maybe tipping off, like pre-snap wise. And I think a lot of it had to do with Caleb, which is why I think he's rebuilding the offense, or a big reason why he's rebuilding the offense from scratch. I've just been doing more and more research about this, and I think that everything that he's doing to this team is to make sure that they are doing the exact same thing every single play, so you do not know what the play is going to be. You might have an idea, but it's going to be something different every single time with the same look, because Caleb's left foot is forward now instead of his right foot. So, we know if it's going to be a run or a pass, because every time, we don't know now, every time he's got his left foot forward. It's also going to help him take one less step back. And if everybody's on time and everybody's in their right place, the ball's going to be right where it needs to be, which is what we saw in Detroit. So, Kyle, I think you're right. I think Colston Loveland hopefully will be a weapon. I don't know if he's going to be that big of a weapon this year, but hey, man, if he keeps improving, the sky's the limit.
Yeah, real quick, man, I just want to say what's up to Dante Purify in the chat here. Breaking news, Bruce, Vizzo, Joe, Phil, Bears fans for life. Lindsay's in the chat. Kyle Harris is in the chat. Broski Bears in the chat. Appreciate you guys. Darius Lockhart is joining us. What's going on, Darius? How you doing, man? Yeah, Sean, sorry to interrupt you, man.
Oh no, my favorite thing that I like that I liked is the 1 day improvement, and that's number 87. Yesterday he had a couple of couldn't get his alignment right. He gets thrown off the field. Today he's out there scoring touchdowns. It just shows you holding players accountable. Hard coaching works, guys. He created separation on that whip route against one of the best nickels in the NFL. And he burned him. And these are the things that we heard about him coming into the league. And I like to see the improvement from day to day. And when you see him getting yanked by his jersey, thrown off the field, like I said, and then today, what is he doing? Burning Kyler Gordon, my boy. Come on now. I love this to Burden. I'm so excited to see him. We'll go.
We got David Lugo in the house. He says, I'm excited. We seem to have real coaches. What's up, David? How you doing, man? Yeah.
What's up, broski?
Yeah, the coaching staff just seems to know what they're doing, guys. And this is the first time in a long time I felt that way. I mean, every single time you hear an interview from any one of the players or any specific coach, they're talking about how amazing all the other coaches are, how amazing the coaches are in general. And obviously, Ben Johnson has a ton of respect around this league. Dennis Allen's a guy who's been doing this for a very long time. He's been head coach a couple of times in the NFL. And then you've heard him talk about guys like Al Harris. We had talked about Eric Bieniemy on the show. All these guys who have so much experience in the NFL. I mean, this is probably I think Charles Tillman called it the Avengers of coaching staff. So it is something that Bears fans should be excited about. And I also agree with Broski Bear here, man. Yeah, I think Colston Loveland and Luther Burden are going to be really, really good weapons for the Bears. I don't know how long it's going to take them to get acclimated to the NFL and acclimated to this offense, but when they get up and running, this is going to be a very, very tough offense to stop if Caleb Williams is the guy that we all believe he's going to be.
How nice is it to see players actually develop?
Yeah.
Overnight. Oh wow!
Overnight. And look at the players' reactions to getting scolded in practice, guys. They're not like, "Oh, I don't want to be here anymore." No. Ben Johnson's being mean to me. They're like, "Hey, I screwed up. I need to take accountability for that. I'm going to go out and respond and do better next time." That's what Ben Johnson wants when he's yelling at them, and that's exactly what he gets. Maybe Matt Eberflus should be watching some of these interviews and study.
There was a couple things we've been talking about a lot here, and we talked about a little bit on Monday about Caleb under center and where Caleb wants to go this year, or his job, where his responsibility is as a leader on this football team. And he really covered that today. I thought his press conference today was only about 10 minutes. If you guys didn't see it, look it up on YouTube or wherever. It was a really, really good. I got a couple snippets here, and I want to get these. I want to play these. They're about 1:39, and I just want you guys to hear, and then I want to talk to you guys about it just a little bit.
There hasn't really been a challenge. It's just been gaining the knowledge, how the footwork, where we need to be, the landmarks of running back, the landmark for me, when I set up or when I'm rolling out or anything like that. So it's just been practicing the technique, and so what I like about it, you get hard sell actions, backers biting, safety's eyes get crisscross with different motions and things like that, and it provides the defense actually identifies it differently from when you're in gun, back offset, and things like that. So it's a bunch of small minute things that end up mattering, and
we'll go back to this next clip. That right there. We talk about growth and coaching. It seems as though in just 7 days, because when you listen to some of these reporters and you read the reports today, they're saying the operation looks a little bit more crisp. Just on Monday, we were talking about how comfortable this guy could be under center. Is this the right offense for him? It seems as though he's bought in 100%, and in just a few short days, he's getting more acclimated to being under center. I really wanted to hear what you guys thought about that, your takeaways, and listening to some of these guys saying it's getting cleaner. It's becoming smoother every single day. We're 7 days in. So now we're thinking, hey, in a month when they break camp, this should look a lot better. Where are your guys' heads at right now with the development under center of Caleb Williams thus far into camp?
Dude, I'll tell you what, that video is what made me think about the tells. I started looking into how a quarterback could give tells on what a play is. And that's when I really started thinking that's what these guys meant by we want to be coached. I literally think the players knew they were doing something wrong, but didn't necessarily know exactly what it was. So they're asking hey, do you guys have answers? You want to coach me? Tell me what I'm doing wrong here so I can maybe not do it anymore. And now these players are getting it. So that's why they love it. They absorb it because I think players, especially like Caleb, who has, super high expectations of himself, which I'm sure they all do. I think that's them just saying, all right, now at least there's somebody here helping me get to where my goal is, where I want to be. And I think it's really refreshing. The real big test here is going to be coming up, I think, next week, right? Miami's coming into town. So, we'll see how we do on an inter-squad practice. But I'm not expecting the Bears to win the Super Bowl this year. I'm hoping they make the playoffs. I just want to really, at this point, I'm just really happy with the improvement that I've seen in just not even the culture, but the players and their attitudes and how things are going along. I just want to see that keep going. I don't even care what the end of this year is because I don't have that high expectations. I just want to see throughout the entire year everybody develop. Why can't we have one of those guys? We're about to talk it later in fantasy. Why can't we have some of these players on our team on the Bears that, oh man, dude, the last 8 weeks he scored 20 points a week, or hey, we haven't had any of those guys. I'm excited to maybe one day have offensive studs that I can draft in fantasy football.
They're coming. They're coming.
Yeah, I think they're here. They just need to be developed. And that's really well put, Jason. I mean, it's not just about when Ben Johnson stops these guys in practice because they continue to screw up. It's not just about the discipline, right? It's not about setting standards. It's also about developing. I mean, they are one and the same. That is developing. Hey, I'm stopping the play because you screwed up. The only way to develop you is tell you what you did wrong and make sure you don't do it again. And that wasn't happening last year under Matt Eberflus. By all accounts, that's happening on almost every single play in training camp. On top of that, guys, my favorite thing that Caleb Williams talked about from his presser today was the fact that he's talked about how quickly you get up to the line and how quickly you get that play out and you get your teammates set and you start putting them in motion. That is part of your identity. That's part of your identity as a team. When the team across from you, the defense across from you is man, look at these guys. They just look professional. They know what they're doing. This is almost subconscious to them. They're doing it without even trying. You look like a professional football team. You look like you know what you're doing, and you look like you're about to attack the defense and find the holes there. And Caleb Williams talked about that a lot today, and that was one of my favorite things that he said since they brought Ben Johnson in and since this training camp began.
Yeah, it just seems as though the IQ level at Hallis Hall has just jumped exponentially. It's crazy.
It's a different organization.
Yeah, it's refreshing. Like
Yeah.
you're like, wow, these guys are actually good. They know football. This was they asked him about his goals and what he took away from last year and how can apply it to this year. And I really like what Caleb had to say. And this is what he said.
Good job with that.
Caleb, from year one to year two, how have you seen your leadership grow? Bringing the offense along, learning the offense yourself, and helping your teammates be on the same page with you?
Yeah, I think part of it comes from I played a year, and like I said last year was more of a learn how everything goes, learn how the NFL is and things like that. And this year for me was trying to take a step up in my leadership role and pushing the guys. And part of it is going out there and being right and doing everything right, getting the play calls in fast. Being out there, being confident, knowing what I'm doing. And then the other half of it is when things are messing up, let's rehuddle, let's get up, come on, let's get this thing going. In 2 minutes, encouraging the guys. It's the fourth quarter. I know we're in practice. It's a hot day. It's fourth quarter. It's fourth quarter in the game. It's time to go win. So let's go win this game. So it's small things like that. The encouragement, the belief in ourselves, the belief, in our hard work that we're putting in. And then other than that, it's going out there and having fun and showing it. Thanks, guys. Absolutely. The Bears.
I was going to say, I don't know what
I love
happened
how
there.
he ends everything that way.
The Bears. Growth as a leader. I think he was a leader last year, but as we talked about the incompetent coaching, as Phil just eloquently put, the coaches were incompetent. I don't think he wanted to lead, but didn't know how to lead, if that makes any sense, because of what was happening around him. But I think this year he has the sensibility where he knows he's going to be under center. He's in that huddle. He is the leader, and it's going to fall on his shoulders. And I think Ben Johnson is really instilling that in him. Where I don't know if he had that confidence last year. I think it was more last year. It just seemed like going through the motions, just going through the first year of the NFL. I don't know what you guys took away from that, but talk to me, Goose.
I think he said it when he said, to me, the thing that stood out the most was when he said, feeling confident up there, knowing that I am doing the right thing. That's not exactly saying that he wasn't confident last year. I mean, I'm sure he's confident enough in his talent, but I think by his play and just how it looked and the scrambling and, being off script more than he probably wanted to be, I think that's what he's talking about. I'll just make it up on my own. And it just goes back to the coaching. And I think he feels he's getting coached. Now, time will tell. Let's see how he does. We got to still, put it on tape, right? We got to do it at game time. Yeah. But I'm thinking that's what he's saying. He's saying this, yes, it is different. I starting to feel confident now. I'm sure a second year doesn't hurt, another year, another couple weeks in the NFL or whatever. But hey, man, I'm happy with everything that I'm hearing from, the coach, from his teammates and from him. I know a lot of the national media doesn't necessarily agree, but I think they want you to tune into their show and they just make shit up as they go. Because honestly, we've said it 1,000 times on the show, the guys are going to make mistakes in practice. Guys, there's actually a really good tweet by J.J. Watt about this, and I think Pat McAfee's show yesterday also did a really good job really kind of explaining as football players, like, hey, this is what practice is. He goes, you think I never missed a kick in practice before? You're going to try different. You're going to try a different throw, a different kick. You're going to try a different tackle technique. You're going to maybe try a different route that you haven't done, a different move, whatever it may be. That's when you try this stuff and fail and let it fail in practice. And if it succeeds, you then carry it into the game. That's how practice works. So not every team is, every player's in the best shape of their life or, oh my God, this guy is good. Caleb's going to be the quarterback. Yes, Mr. Bajancy looked good, but he was also looking good against the twos, not the ones. So it's something different. You got to look at people. So in any event, I'm happy with what I see. I don't want to get my expectations too high, but I'm thinking he feels he's on the right path, and I think I'm in agreement with Caleb. I think he is now on the right path.
Yeah, I mean, lead by example, right? And attitude reflects leadership. And Caleb Williams is to me so far, guys, has been the constant professional. We saw how he reacted to losing last year. He still stood at that podium, and he said all the right things. And you saw his reaction in the locker room after winning that Packers game, just how much he cares about winning and how much he wants to be great and he wants to be perfect every day. And by default, I believe that the quarterback is always going to have to be leader in some way, shape, or form. I think sometimes it just kind of falls on their shoulders. And Caleb Williams seems to be the best one we've had in a long time. He wants to be great, guys. I can tell you that for a fact. When he talks about that stuff, he's not lying. I mean, you could tell that he loves the game of football. He wants to be remembered in Chicago for forever, and he wants to win a Super Bowl for the Chicago Bears. And I think that's part of the reason people were like, oh, he doesn't want to come to Chicago during the draft. I think after a while, he started thinking about it like, man, if I win a Super Bowl for Chicago, I'm going to be one of the greatest players in the history of the NFL.
He's a god.
Yeah, he'll be a god. Exactly. And I think he has a great attitude, and I think his teammates see that and respect it, and I think they see that he wants to be great, and they want to be great with him. And this is by far the most confident I've been in a Chicago Bears quarterback since I was born in 1988.
I agree.
I was born in 1976, and I feel the same.
Welcome in, Ron. Dante. Dante says Ben likes to hunt mismatches. It'll be hard for fantasy leaguers to know who's getting the ball week to week.
That's true, man. This could be a boomer bust offense when it comes to particular players.
Yeah, but you knew who was good in Detroit, right?
I also agree with David Lugo, though, that if healthy, DJ's probably going to be your
100%
fantasy player.
100%.
It's going to be him or Swift, obviously outside of Caleb Williams, for sure.
Yeah, I have no doubts. You guys know my love for this man right here. He is my GOAT. And I still think he's going to be, no matter what Bears Twitter is telling you, Rome's taking over the wide receiver.
I think it's huge days.
For sure. Yeah. It's going to be matchups, just like who just said that in the comments? Who was that? Dante. He's gonna hunt for mismatches wherever he is. He's also going to create mismatches. So that's going to be.
I mean, this is the type of offensive coordinator, man, where he can recognize weaknesses. If there's a corner playing for the opposing team that's struggling or just not a good player because due to injuries or whatnot, they just didn't draft well, he's going to pick on that guy for sure.
They're two different.
Ben Johnson is intelligent, and so is Caleb Williams.
Jebediah with the comment of the day so far. The only confidence in the locker room last year was Eberflus after getting his haircut.
What's up, Ron? How you doing, brother?
And Ron, I will probably be watching the Hall of Fame game because guess what?
I will.
It's football, man. I don't care if it's the threes. It's football, baby.
We've been waiting all year.
I'll be working, but I will certainly have it on TV, and I will catch as much as I possibly can for sure. It is crazy though, guys, because the Hall of Fame game to me is that point where you think to yourself, football is back. That is.
Yeah, and this will be the last week we don't have football. Starting this Thursday, we have football every week until February, boys. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm so excited about that.
I don't know if you guys see the sign on my wall. It says there are 2 times a year: football season and waiting for football season.
That's awesome. To wrap up practice, as we started off, we said it was a red zone day. It was a scripted red zone day at the end of practice. Caleb Williams is over 2 passing. He took that short sack. We saw that read option with Colson Loveland as the lead blocker leading into the end zone. Case Keenum was with the twos today. He threw a touchdown to Stephen Carlson and Durham Smythe. Williams ended the day on 11-11 work, 4 of 10 per Dan Wiederer. In 11-11, they said the crowd went wild on a crosser to DJ Moore. That was a good game. Caleb also threw that catch. We saw another catch, a separate catch, to Burden in a tight window through traffic. There was a wide receiver screen to Zacharias that lit the crowd up. Swift had an outside run called back and a holding. Would have been a big run, they said. And then Caleb rolling out to his right looking for Zacharias. Found him, but Zacharias dropped the ball. And then the biggest camp takeaways they said today was the process looked better, smoother in and out of the huddle, as we said. So it does look like, the media reactions after day one, Caleb Williams throwing interceptions, it looks like it's all starting to slowly come together. And you know what? Jay touched on this a little bit ago. These inter-squad practices coming up with Miami as we get into our next topic of this left tackle cornerback battle, the cornerback 2 battle that is going on in camp right now. I think that's going to become a little clearer because we did hear Ben Johnson in his presser yesterday. He came out and said, I'm looking to have this left tackle battle squared away ahead of the Miami game. So, boys, the Miami game is August 10th. So we're 12 days away from knowing, or less, of knowing who's going to be this left tackle. If I put all my chips on the table right now, something tells me it's going to be Ozzy Trapilo.
He also, real quick, Sean, he did say also in that same presser, he said, "It's if it takes 2 weeks, great. If it takes 6 weeks, great. What happens, happens. If we don't know by that Miami game, we won't know by that Miami game." But yeah, I mean, I certainly believe that in terms of cohesion, the offensive line is most important when it comes to spending time together, playing together. So best case scenario is you do know who your starting left tackle is come that Miami game. But I don't think if they don't, I don't think it's the end of the world. But I'm with you, Sean. I mean, Ozzy Trapilo just seems to be standing out day in and day out. I mean, I know he had that one practice where he got beat up by Austin Booker, but outside of that, I've heard nothing but good things about Ozzy Trapilo. And once again, you guys, if you watch the tape, if you watch the film, he looks like an NFL tackle. And I'm not just talking about his size. I'm talking about the way he moves, his range, his side-to-side motion. He just looks like he's going to be a good player in the NFL. And maybe not, I'm not saying, guys, I'm not coming on here and saying he's the best tackle in the world, but if he can be better than Braxton Jones, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What's up, Crooked Commish? How you doing, man? Thanks for joining the show.
Crooked?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you want your offensive line to have time together. That's why he probably wants it decided by that Miami game so he can have the entire preseason game schedule with his intended offensive lines, the first line, second line, third line. But, like you were saying earlier, we've got some injuries, so we'll kind of figure that out. Here's what I think. When we say we trust in Ben, everything that I'm seeing and hearing, it's being backed up and followed up. I really am starting to believe that whoever they put at tackle is going to wind up being the right person. I mean, if it winds up being Braxton Jones, it's probably because he earned it. You know what I mean? He beat out some better talent. Then good for him. Whoever they put at outside linebacker, it's probably going to be the best player they have on the team. So, maybe do we have to pick up somebody else? Maybe that's a different story. But whoever they put in at starter is going to be the best player. I 100% believe that. And I don't see any reason why I shouldn't. I hope for the best for that offensive line, though. I really want them to stay healthy, just for one season, for Christ's sake.
One season,
yeah. It's been. I think the last time all 5 starting offensive linemen started and finished the season was 2009. So it's been a long time.
It's been a while.
And you know what? I expect injuries, and you should.
Yeah.
You should. So that's why we were talking about the depth on this team when it comes to the offensive line. But I agree with you, Jason. For once in my life, I trust this coaching staff. I trust the talent evaluation. Whoever starts at left tackle for Chicago Bears week 1 against the Minnesota Vikings on Monday night is going to be the best left tackle in the building.
That we have.
No doubt about it.
Absolutely.
Not a question about it.
Yeah. And, for me,
What's up, Dustin?
I did hear a couple of things about, there are a couple of hitches in his game, especially being able to get low. Brad Biggs wrote a good, I think it was Biggs who wrote a nice piece on Trapilo with some of his deficiencies. I thought I wrote them down, but I didn't. So my bad on that. But he looks the most fluid, the most athletic, a guy who will be able to slide over and handle those bull rushes. I mean, when Jason, that thing you were talking about, that video that they showed of them walking out, that was the first time, like everyone, Trapilo's big, you see the size, but the other lineman, he was towering over all of them. I mean, this is a mountain of a man, and he moves very, very smoothly. So the Bears might have nailed this pick. I was a little skeptical. I said maybe this was Ryan Poles. He was friends with his dad. Maybe this is just a friend pick. But we'll see in a couple of weeks down the road. But again, with Loveland and with Burden and with Trapilo, it seems as though right now they've hit the nail on the head on all 3 of these picks.
And let's hope Turner gets back so we could see him play too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And once again, Sean, it's the flip side of it. We talked about last week how people overreact to training camp. We got to do the same thing when we're talking about how good people look. It's obviously just training camp. You guys only played with pads on a couple of times. But I mean, right now, all you can do is evaluate these guys based off of the information you're given and based off what you see when you're watching training camp. I mean, by all accounts, it sounds like Ozzy Trapilo is playing really well left tackle. Like, once again, I said, you guys, nobody's coming out and saying this guy's the next Trent Williams. I've never heard that. Nobody's claiming that. But like I said, if you had to rank Braxton Jones' overall play as a 75 and Ozzy Trapilo as a 76, That's good for the Bears,
Yeah.
right? I'll
Yeah.
take it. And then you still would probably go into next season looking for a better left tackle. And I like what Dustin says here. Dustin says the bigger question is not who's going to start. Is that guy good enough? Even when they do start, when they pick the best of the three, is he good enough to play in the NFL?
All good points.
And I agree with Dustin as well. That's probably still going to
Yeah.
be the biggest hiccup in their lineup starting the season. And we knew that. We knew that, right, guys?
And Les
We all know that.
Trapilo is a stud.
Yeah, and even if Trapilo is a stud, it would be fair to
He'll have some hiccups.
Yeah, expect him to have some growing pains in the NFL. It's a totally different competition than it was in college. Like he's probably going to struggle from time to time, especially if you start getting those guys like even the Vikings defensive line week one. They have some guys that could certainly cause some havoc, but as long as, like Jason said previously when talking about the offense in totality and talking about Caleb Williams, as long as he's getting better every week, that's all you can ask for. And remember, guys, this is the same team that started Braxton Jones week one, who was a fifth round pick. This guy's a second round pick. So you should,
a lot of deficiencies,
by default, expect him to be better than Braxton Jones was in his rookie season. But I don't know, it remains to be seen. I hope that one of these guys is at least good enough to keep Caleb Williams standing upright all season. I just don't want to see Caleb get hurt.
I like Phil's comment here. Great organization, start at the top. I couldn't agree more. When you look at the Ravens, when you look at the Steelers, when you look at these teams that are perennial in the playoffs or in the hunt every year, like the Eagles, it starts at the top and it trickles all the way down. So I couldn't agree more with that statement, Phil.
Hey, Sean.
I agree with Illinois Jones here too, really quick. The quicker they can nail down the starting five O-line, the sooner they can start gelling together. That is probably for me the most important thing, and I really hope they do make a decision and sooner rather than later. That's where I am.
Yeah, the offensive line is the engine of the offense. So you need it to work. It's not you want it to work. It has to work. It needs to work. I will say this, and just one last point about developing players. It's also equally important that they develop the existing pros and veterans that they have on their squad. So you're hoping these guys also get better, not just the rookies. Braxton Jones, he was, serviceable with a really crappy coaching staff. Maybe now with a good coaching staff, he can develop into, hey, maybe an above average tackle. Again, not, Laramie Tunsil or, just maybe a good serviceable tackle. And like you were saying in earlier shows, maybe he's now our swing tackle. But you hope that all these guys get developed. I don't know how much you're really going to develop with, say, a Joe Tooney, but Joe Tooney still has to learn this offense too. So there might be something that even he takes away. So you really just want to hope that everybody is getting better on this team, not just the rookies.
Well, and just the fact that you now have a perennial all-pro guard and Joe Tooney on the left side, he should help that left tackle out. But I mean, I do believe that Braxton Jones has athletic limitations. He has athletic limitations for sure. Like he's not ever going to be Trent Williams, even if Ben Johnson's the best coach in NFL history. You can't make somebody who's an average player become the best player in the NFL. But like you said, Jason, even like I said, if Trapilo isn't that guy, say he's not as good as we all think he is, and he's not going to be the starting left tackle for this team. If Ben Johnson could take Braxton Jones' grade 75 to a 77, that's still best case scenario for the Bears. And I do believe that whoever plays left tackle will at least be average. And I understand that you're only as good as your weakest link, but I do think that certain teams in the NFL and certain coaches who are smart can disguise deficiencies in certain ways. Like you can chip over there, you can help over there. Yeah. Like I said, Joe Tooney's standing next to him now, so he's definitely going to get some help. And then I think just the fact that the Bears organization in totality is just raising the standards, right, guys? And these guys know if I don't meet those standards, I'm not going to play here. So they're going to give 100% all the time. And I don't think that this team did that. This roster did that in every single game last year. I think some of these guys kind of sold out a little bit, started making business decisions. I don't think you're going to see that on the Chicago Bears in 2025. I don't.
No, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? But I think the biggest point here for the offensive line is Dan Rochar. I think having this guy in the fold, the guy who has molded many Pro Bowlers that weren't perennial Pro Bowlers when they came into the league, working with Ozzie Trapilo. Look, the Bears have to make a decision. Trapilo is going to be the guy because Braxton Jones' contract's up. If Braxton Jones starts, he's serviceable. Trapilo's this. You got to make a contract decision on Braxton Jones. You're either letting him walk or you're signing him on a.
Well, I'm letting him walk either way.
You probably let him walk.
Why would you wouldn't you say, hey, man, this is a good depth piece? Like if Trapilo starts and he's a stud, say he goes down in week 4, wouldn't you still feel okay saying, "Hey, Braxton Jones is coming in," and I
Yeah,
feel
and
good about that?
he's a great backup. Would be a great backup tackle,
Right.
a great swing tackle. I mean, you can't expect every single player on the field to be a Pro Bowler because you don't. First of all, you don't have the money. Second of all, if they were Pro Bowlers, they wouldn't be backups on your team. They'd go to other teams, right? And
Right.
But the problem with that is, Sean, is I believe personally, and you guys correct me if you think I'm wrong, but I think Braxton Jones is going to be looking for starting left tackle money. I just don't
of
think the
course.
Bears are going to be willing to pay him that to be a backup in Chicago. Now, Sean, if he goes and tests the market and every other team in the NFL agrees with the Bears and is like, bro, you're a backup tackle in the NFL. You are not a starting left tackle. Then maybe the Bears get him back for cheap. But I think some team out there who has just had been struggling with the left tackle position for a long time, somebody like the Jaguars or the Commanders, would go out there and be willing to pay Braxton Jones is one of the cheaper starting left tackles in the NFL. And if he wants that money, if he wants that $22 million a year, I don't want him here.
No, you're right. You're 100% correct. The 12 million? All right, yeah. Why don't you stay for a while?
I have a question, and because I looked on Bears.com and they don't have any depth charts listed yet that I've seen. And maybe you guys can help me out here because I'm lost. Who's Darnell Wright's backup?
Well, right now I think it'd be Theo Benedict.
Oh, jeez. Oh, God.
I mean, either that or they would make, like you said, Sean, if they put Ozzie Trapilo on the left-hand side, I think Braxton Jones could play swing tackle. Or if Braxton Jones starts, by all accounts, Ozzie Trapilo was a better right tackle than he was left tackle in college. So that would definitely become your default number 2. But right now, if Ozzie Trapilo ends up being the starter, I think Braxton Jones probably becomes your swing tackle. Okay, I could play both right and left. But right now in training camp, Theo Benedict has taken over the right tackle position whenever Donald Wright gets one of these rest days.
And you know what?
By all accounts, Sean, he's played pretty well. From what they're saying is he's played pretty well.
And now that you say that, I do remember that. The Canadian Eagle.
From what I've heard, obviously once again against training camp, so who cares? But I have heard that he's played pretty well, and they actually this coaching staff likes him.
I was just going to bring his name up. Thank you, Illinois Jones. I said this a few weeks ago, and I'm going to stand by this.
You said it on Monday.
Unless Karan moves over to the right side, I think he is going to end up being a guard in the NFL. I don't think he's going to be a tackle. I think he could, with his size, could be a really good guard in the NFL.
So do I, Sean. I agree with you 100%. The only problem with Amagaji is, to this point in his career, he has not proven that he can stay healthy, and that's not good. I mean, you got a whole Tevin Jenkins thing going on over here. I agree with Erica here. I believe that because this coaching staff picked Ozzie Trapilo, they didn't draft Karan Amagaji, they didn't draft Braxton Jones, they draft Ozzie Trapilo. I think he is the favorite. I think he right now has the favoritism to win that job. I think they're going to give him every ample opportunity they possibly can for him to take that job. But if he goes into the preseason or week 1 and he's struggling, I don't think they have any problem switching him out with Braxton Jones immediately, because the ultimate goal is to make sure that Caleb Williams does not get injured. If he does, your season is probably over.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And, the other huge camp battle, anything else you guys want to get to on these tackles before we turn the page?
No, I'm excited to talk about the next camp battle, Sean. This is going to be a good one.
Yeah,
I think this is the battle that is the most open.
I agree 100%.
On the Chicago Bears.
I agree 100%. And this is what Dennis Allen said earlier today about it.
For grabs. I think as you saw it out there today, you saw some different guys going out there with the ones, and I think that's how you develop the very best defense that you can, is create as much competition as you can, and let the tape make the decision. You with me? And that's really what it's about.
He says he with me. So
you with me?
Like they're all stupid. Are you still with me?
for me, I kind of like making Tyreek fight for it, but I'm going to be honest with you guys. I know we're hearing a lot about Nahshon Wright. Nahshon Wright, and let me just get this through. He's entering his 5th season in the NFL. He's played 33 regular games. He's made 3 starts. He's with the Cowboys and the Vikings. He has 1 playoff appearance with the Cowboys. He recorded 31 tackles, 23 solo, 1 interception, 5 passes defended. He was originally drafted by the Cowboys in the 3rd round of the 2021 draft. Now, I don't need to do anything about Nick McLeod, because this guy, his career I hate to say it and be rude, but it sucked. There's nothing for me to write up and tell you guys about, because he's been awful at football. So they're saying that he's looking good in training camp, That's fine. For me, I really, really think this is a 2-horse race between Terrell Smith and Tyreek Stevenson. And if you go inside the numbers, which I'm going to throw them up here, it really really goes towards Terrell Smith. And this isn't a small sample size for Terrell Smith. He had over 200 snaps in coverage last year. He was a better cover corner than Tyreek Stevenson.
He's a better everything corner.
He's a better everything.
Tyreek Stevenson.
You see a lot more green on the top.
And Sean, it was really nice of you to let Avery write the names on there too. That's cool.
So I don't know where you guys are with this. I think there's a lot. I think there's a lot of ability in Tyreek Stevenson. You know, he might be a little underrated, a little bit. But when you look at the tape and you look at what Terrell Smith has done, and back up by his numbers, he looks a little bit more impressive. So you guys, I want you guys to unload. I want the chat to unload, guys. Tell me what you think out there in Bears land, our Bears community. Who do you guys want at this CB2 position opposite Jalen Johnson? And boys, take it away. You guys tell me what your thoughts are on the CB2 battle that we got going on in camp, because like Kyle said, I think this is the most wide open, and it is like
it's up for grabs, man.
And they were both drafted in the same year, by the way. Terrell Smith was drafted in the 5th round, and Tyreek Stevenson.
Yeah, and Ryan Poles really liked Terrell. He liked that pick a lot. He really liked that pick. And Dante's right. He has been banged up a lot since the drafted, but he's looked good when he was on the field. This is what I will say, Sean. When it comes to McLeod and Wright, later on in that interview, Dennis Allen was questioned about the depth on this team, and he immediately brought up the names Wright and McLeod. So I think by default, he's basically telling you that those are your backups, right? Like those are not going to be your starting number 2 corner. I think just by the fact that when he was asked about, we'll get to Zay Frazier a little bit here too.
We are, because there's nuggets about him as well.
Just by the fact that he was asked about depth and he brought up those 2 names, I think he's basically cemented those 2 guys as depth. Right. I don't think either of them are going to be starting on this team. But I think, once again, this goes back to Jason's point earlier. Dennis Allen's a very smart guy, right? And Dennis Allen has said more than anybody, more than Ben Johnson. He's talked about the best 11 on the field, creating competition. I think this is truly up for grabs. And whoever looks the best by the time the preseason is over is going to be the number 2 corner for the Chicago Bears. And I think there's a good chance that's Terrell Smith. Now, if you look at Tyreek Stevenson, when he plays well, when he has splash plays, he's probably a better player when he's playing well than Terrell Smith. But the problem with Tyreek Stevenson is, it seems to me, even with this coaching staff, he's the only guy we've heard news out of training camp where he still is being a bonehead, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there was a play in training camp where he's trying to pump up the crowd and the play is actively running and he let a big play happen. If that continues, I think this is the type of coaching staff where, like, we don't care how good you are. If you continue to do this shit, you're not going to play for this team. And I'm talking about they might even trade him, like get him off the roster as fast as they possibly can. If this competition in 2025 in training camp through the preseason, and this new coaching staff, who we've all talked about, we believe is good at developing these players and making them better on a day-to-day basis, if they can't get the best out of Tyreek Stevenson and that competition can't bring the best out of Tyreek Stevenson, then it's time for him to get off this team. And by default, once again, Terrell Smith should be your starter, right? And I'm not even saying that Terrell Smith's going to be an amazing number 2 corner in the NFL. The Bears just might not have an amazing number 2 corner in the NFL this year, which sucks because we've all been talking about how good we think this secondary unit is, but you're only as good as your weakest link. And it seems to me like if one of these 2 guys ends up starting because they were the least worst of, then this is a position that's going to get picked on this season again. And that's unfortunate for the Bears.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Sean, I
want to
think
throw a Jalen, you know,
I think Terrell Smith believes when the coaches say, hey man, you have every opportunity to take this job and start in the NFL and go make yourself some real money. I think he's going to do everything in his power to take it. And to me, it sounds like Tyreek Stevenson just doesn't take it all that seriously. I mean, you're still doing the same crap that you got absolutely destroyed by the national media for doing last year. And you're doing it at training camp with a new coaching staff. You're supposed to be trying to impress as much as you possibly can. That's not a good start for Tyreek Stevenson for me. It's not, but it sucks though, guys, because remember that 5-game span last year. And even in stints in his rookie season, particularly that Browns game, that interception he made against Joe Flacco, Tyreek Stevenson there's there's glimpses of greatness. Like that interception he made
I
against the
agree.
Browns was amazing. I'm like, that might be the best interception I've seen on the Bears in the last 10 years. Like he jumped somebody else's route. That wasn't even his guy. And he picked that pass off. He seems like he can be a little bit of a ball hawk, but if he doesn't have it going on between the ears, then what does it matter?
Yeah,
It doesn't matter how talented you are.
Yeah, I don't know what his cap hit is, but he probably signed a 4-year contract, so we got him for one more year after this year before we got to let him go. He's definitely, I think, the more talented DB, maybe even
For sure.
the most talented. I mean, just skill wise, I don't think his brain is there, and that's the problem. Especially if they're going to focus so much on pre-snap and discipline. He's not a really heavily penalized guy. He just makes numbskull mistakes, like messing with the crowd or not paying attention. Like, dude, you're working right now. This is your job, dude. Pay attention. You're not playing a high school game, on a Friday night where that nobody's watching. You're getting paid millions of dollars, and there's somebody behind you, like literally right now, somebody behind you that wants to take your job, and you're still making the same mistakes that you made before. Kyle, you're 100% right. I think that's what's really pissing this coaching staff off about him, is that he's not learning and he's not putting in the effort, and they're seeing other guys that are. And look, that might be sort of the nail in the coffin for the Eberflus era, where they finally, fully turn over this culture and say, look, Tyreek Stevenson, really good player. We drafted him. We loved him. Don't like him anymore. He's gone. We traded him. We got rid of him. We're not.
No, we don't tolerate this shit. Exactly. Yeah. And like you said, Jason, for him to make the same mistakes twice and you guys, I believe that
the coaches are saying it's wide open.
Yeah, I just literally took the words out of my mouth, Jason. I believe Dennis Allen going out publicly and saying this is a wide open competition. Yeah. I think he's talking directly to Tyreek Stevenson, like, hey, this is like trying to light a fire under his ass. If you want to be a starter in the NFL and you want to play for Chicago Bears, you better knock this shit off and pull your head out of your ass and start become a good consummate professional who goes out there and takes his job seriously. Like you said, he's getting millions of dollars to play a kid's game. This guy needs to take this more seriously. And I think Terrell Smith probably takes it a lot more seriously than Tyreek Stevenson does, at least to this point. But maybe they can change that mindset, get rid of those character issues from Tyreek Stevenson. And if they do, I think you're right. He's athletically the most talented of the bunch. But if you can't fix what's going on between the ears, I mean, if he's going to continue to have these same problems that he's had since he's drafted. I mean, this has been 2 years, guys. This is 2 years now. And like I said, he was publicly humiliated after that Washington game. And obviously that wasn't enough for him to pull his head out his ass and start to get to study and become the best player, the best version of himself, and become a starting player in the NFL who can get paid for a second contract and make millions and millions of dollars. Obviously none of this stuff is that important to him. So if that's the case, then give it to Terrell Smith and go draft a number 2 corner next year.
Yeah, you can always draft a corner every year. There's no problem with that.
I'll give you a couple other numbers too. Terrell was better at missed tackle rate in 2024, 5.9 to 13.8%, which is a huge difference. I know they say injuries are a problem for Terrell. He still played 14 of 17 games last year. In the 2023 Combine, Terrell Smith was top 5 in the 40-yard dash and top speed at 24.16 miles per hour. And why is that important? Because what does Dennis Allen put a huge emphasis on? Speed, speed, speed. It's what he loves. I will tell you, though, the one thing that might earn him a little bit of a better spot is the fact that Tyreek Stevenson was better in zone in man coverage, not by much, but it was a little better, 65.3 to 55.6. Dennis Allen does run that. However, he does run zone, and Terrell was a lot better at zone, 80.3 to 59.8. So he's
going to have to play both, because if you keep swapping them out, then the offense is going to know, hey, it's zone, hey, it's man. You know what I mean? You're trying to disguise these things, and that's what they're getting at, dude. I love the guy, but the reason why he's good at man is because his brain isn't in the game. Zone takes a lot more discipline than man does.
You want to know what else is a fact, and I think you guys are going to agree with me on this 100%. Last year, when Tyreek Stevenson was struggling down the stretch, and we were all like, this dude cannot be on the field, they were scared to pull him for Terrell, who probably should have got those opportunities late in the season while he was struggling. That will happen with this staff. His ass will be out of there, and Terrell will get his shot. So this is going to be interesting, and I'm going to be watching the hell out of this preseason. That's for sure.
Real quick, guys, we have a new joiner here. It's AC Adam. Thanks for joining the show. We appreciate it. He says y'all sleeping on Wright Flowers. You guys, this is just my personal opinion. No disrespect, AC, or breaking news. Bruce brought up Trey Flowers as well. Flowers starting for this team is worst case scenario. Go look at his numbers over the last 5. Flowers has been awful, terrible. And obviously, like you said, Sean, this coaching staff has shown that they can take guys who have struggled in the past and turn them into Pro Bowlers. But I just go look at the tape of Flowers. I did when the Bears signed him. I watched some of the highlights. He's just not very good. He's not very good. Yeah, I think that's worst case scenario. I think Sean's right. When you're talking about the start and how the depth plays out, how the depth chart plays out, I'm not entirely sure. But when you're talking about the starting number 2 corner in the Bears, I think it's a 2-horse race. I honestly believe that.
And if anybody, I took this little clip because my boy, my favorite Bear, number 6, was asked about the competition, and this is what he had to say.
Practice that has really surprised you, if anything.
You said with who?
Deshaun Wright.
He's just very vetted. He's a good communicator. He's on his stuff. He got great technique. There's really just no drop off. I think he's been a great teammate, great player, and I just, it's exciting to watch him play and just jump right in the system. He's on everything, like another smart player that knows how to do everything. So it's easy to play with him, talk with him, and all the above.
When you're trying to be a part of a defense that's really complex, and then you've got creative roles for yourself, how do you guys reduce confusion through all the different things that you can move around?
Just communication. That's it. Communication just breeds understanding. That's the biggest thing. So over communicate, you can't ever be wrong.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
He's such a laid-back dude.
I love that guy so much, man.
Well, one thing you can't say about Ryan Poles, guys, and you're talking about these pressers, he has stuck to his gun. I mean, he said, I'm going to draft players based off not only skill set, but off character and intelligence. And there's not many dumb Chicago Bears. Like, if you listen, they're all pretty articulate. They're all pretty well-spoken. They all sound like they eat, sleep, and breathe football. They know what they're talking about. I mean,
except for Stevenson.
I think this guy has drafted just a bunch of intelligent players. And I don't even know if Stevenson's not necessarily intelligent. I think he's just like a fiery. I think he's got to temper his emotions a little bit, man. Like, you can't let every single person in the NFL piss you off, man. That's what they're trying to do, and they're getting the best of you. At some point, you got to focus on you, not everybody else. I agree with Dustin. I mean, you guys, to me, and you guys, Sean, you tell me what you think, but I think Tyreek Stevenson has the highest ceiling.
Oh, I agree. I would agree with that.
That's best case scenario. And I said this 6 months ago on this podcast. Best case scenario for the Chicago Bears is Tyreek Stevenson pulls his head off his ass and he's a really good corner in the NFL like he was in college. That is the best case scenario. He was a 2nd round pick. And if that guy's a bust, that's worst case scenario. That was a 2nd round. That'd be another 2nd round pick for Ryan Poles. That guy cannot be a bust. He has to at least be like depth on this roster. I think if anybody can get this guy right, it's going to be Al Harrison, this coaching staff. And I do expect Stevenson to win this competition. I do, but I think the leash will be very short, guys.
Yeah, and Dustin, to your point, it's not really a competition. When you look at the numbers, it is a competition because, I mean, this guy played almost 200 passing snaps last year, Terrell Smith. He outshined. He ranked 13th out of 222 quarters in the NFL. You know where Stevenson ranked? Like 96th. There is a competition there. And if he cannot play, if he can't get his head out of his ass, he can't cover people, he's getting burned. Terrell Smith is going to be playing for Dennis Allen. I promise you that. He's not going to put up with this bullshit.
I don't think Ben Johnson will. Ben Johnson will be like, hey, when you taking Tyreek Stevenson out, get Smith in there. It's better. That's what a coach is going to do, you know?
I do agree with Kyle and Dustin, though. I do think Stevenson has the highest ceiling.
Oh, yeah.
Of these guys. But
he should.
He's good. You're like,
he was a 2nd round pick from a prominent school. He should be a good player. At least an above average player in the NFL. I mean, and you guys, Tyreek Stevenson, I know people talk about Ryan Poles reached. Is it possible he reached? Tyreek Stevenson was projected to be a highly drafted corner in the NFL. He was supposed to go late 2nd round, early 3rd round. That's exactly where he went. He was supposed to be a good player, but there's nothing that even a good coaching staff can do if a guy's just unwilling to put in the work or unwilling to stop with the character issues. Let's talk about, I'm glad Bruce breaking news, Bruce brought him up because I want to talk about Zay Frazier a little bit, guys.
Yeah.
This is a guy that was drafted to the Chicago Bears because Al Harris wanted him to be on the Chicago Bears. This is a guy, if you look at him physically, if you look at his skill set and you look at his RAS score, this is a guy who should, by all accounts, be good in the NFL and has the athletic ability to play in this league for a long time. I want to know what's going on with Zay Frazier because they keep saying personal, but then there's always like this question mark after it. Like, oh, it's personal. Like, is there like, I don't think this is like a death in the family decision. This is all speculation. I don't want to speak out of turn, but
It's
this
really
is not,
weird.
I mean,
It's really weird.
Is
It
there,
could maybe be a mental health issue like Calvin Ridley had.
well, there's been
while
some
back.
rumors. There's been some rumors, and I saw somebody put in the chat that there's some legal issues going on.
Yeah.
But I don't know exactly what it would like. If there was legal issues going on, it would have to be announced to the NFL. But it would have to be announced to the NFL. Like, you can't, if there's legal issues going on with Zay Frazier, they can't be hidden from the NFL. The NFL would have to know about it. It would probably be public news at this point. So I don't see how that's possible, but maybe it is, or maybe it's a legal issue, like maybe some like child support issue, something like that. They're like, hey, that's not something you could be suspended for.
Yeah.
So there's nothing we could do about that. I don't know, but it's very strange to me because this is a guy coming into this season, coming into this training camp that he was kind of like up there with Luther Burden, Ozzie Chapilo, those guys where people are like, hey, if you guys watch the tape on this Zay Frazier, this kid could be good. This kid could be really good. And all of a sudden it's like out personal. And none of the news reporters in those pressers when it comes to Dennis Allen and Ben Johnson haven't even asked a question. Nobody's even asked a question. This is what I'm talking about. Like, why can't 4-Star Chicago Sports be in those pressers? I would be like, hey, what is going on with Zay Frazier? Why is that? Like, you guys keep saying personal. Do you expect him to be here before training camp ends? Because he's missing a lot of valuable learning time.
Yeah.
So
when do you expect him back? I know it's personal, but when is he coming back? If it's personal, you should have an idea, right?
Well, I just Googled this, and from the Chicago Bears, it says that he is absent with unspecified personal issues, and we will provide further details. But he is expected. He could return at any time.
Yeah, so nothing. So that means nothing.
Nothing.
This gives me. You guys remember? I think it was Roquan's rookie season where he just didn't play for 2 weeks, and they were like, what's going on? And they never told you why. They were just like, Roquan's just not going to play today. It's personal. But he's sitting on the sideline. Why isn't he playing? Like, it's clearly not due to lack of talent. Why is Roquan Smith not playing for the Bears? This guy was a first-round pick. This is giving me the same vibes.
And you think about this valuable time that he's missing. This could ultimately destroy his rookie season. I mean, you have to get in this camp. Dennis Allen is not being shy about the complexity of this defense. He's not even there.
What's up, Foster?
So, he missed OTAs too, didn't he?
What's that?
He missed the OTAs too, didn't he?
I don't remember.
I don't believe he did. I think
he was there somewhere.
Yeah.
I think
mandatory minicamp.
Honestly,
he was definitely there. Mandatory minicamp for sure.
Didn't Jalen Johnson have a porn addiction 2 years ago? Maybe that's how he heard it.
Yeah, thanks for joining the show, Anthropology TB. I feel like these guys are starting to get into that troll conversation here, man. I don't think there was any.
Hey, what's up, Foster? We hope you're well. You're well as well, my friend, and thank you for joining us on this gloomy Wednesday in Chicago. Yeah, so I mean, I don't have anything else from training camp. These battles are what they are. I will say this: year 3, when you're a cornerback, and if you guys remember back to Kyle Fuller, you guys can go back to when he came in and everyone labeled him a bust after his first couple of years. Year 3 is usually the cornerback breakout window. So hopefully he's stronger, more confident, or they're both a little bit stronger, more confident, and they have a great understanding of Allen's defense. And one of these guys turns out to be.
Yeah, I want Stevenson to be, because I don't think Stevenson's ever going to be a shutdown corner. He's not going to be Jalen Johnson, guys. We know that. But I want Stevenson to be that Trayvon Diggs type player. Like, yeah, I'll give up the occasional deep ball, but I'm going to pick off 7-8 passes because I take chances. I'm fine with that. I'm okay with that. It's the only
way that he stops the quarterback from throwing at him is that threat of an interception.
But if he doesn't have that season this year, guys, if Tyreek Stevenson starts this year and he continues to get picked on and he continues to struggle and he continues to make bonehead plays, I'm done with Tyreek Stevenson. This is it for me. This
100%.
is my last year of Tyreek Stevie. If he doesn't come out this year and perform well, then it's time to go draft another corner or give Zay Frazier a chance or Terrell Smith, because I don't think anybody. What does the NFL stand for? Right, not for long. Right, so like nobody gets that many chances, guys. This guy's already gotten a second chance after that disastrous Washington game. He needs to prove to the Chicago Bears and Chicago Bears fans that he is a legitimate NFL corner. This is his year to do it.
Foster's getting a point for comment of the day. I love it. I love it.
Dustin said, "Where there's a will, there's a way."
You know what? I love our chat. I love.
Sean AC Adams says 32 is greater than 29, so I think he's not.
He's a Terrell Smith guy.
Yeah,
he's a Terrell Smith guy. Here, I'll be honest. If you go through chatter, because I wanted to get a lot of information on this as much as I could. There is a divide between Tyreek Stevenson and Terrell Smith. I don't know if it's among the coaches, but definitely among fans, as you're seeing in the chat right here, of who they think is better or who they would prefer. So, like our defensive coach said, we're going to put it on tape and we're going to let the tape decide. So these inter-squad practices against I believe they're having inter-squad against the Chiefs and they have against the Dolphins, and then these 3 preseason games. Someone's going to have to air it out or win it out, and I don't think it's as critical as getting that left tackle position ironed out. I think you want that a little bit faster. I think you can take the whole preseason iron out the quarterback.
Well, Sean, and there's still a training camp story that nobody's talking about. Jonathan Kim is still in the building, bro.
Who's that?
The Jonathan Kim is still in the building. The kicker is still here. He is still here. I think people just assume that Santos is going to be here at the start of the season. I'm not so sure about that, guys. I think if this guy can kick 60-yard field goals consistently, or at least kick 55-yard field goals consistently, he has a big leg. I think that the Bears would look to make a change there, because this is a league where you have to score points on as many drives as you possibly can. Yeah. It's an offensive quarterback-driven league, right? If you are like punting the ball because you're like, well, Cairo's not going to make this 51-yarder, then it's time to move on.
Yeah.
This is not a charity, it's a business. You want to be as successful as you can in every single facet. If Cairo Santos can't keep up with the rest of the kickers in this league, then go get one of the kickers that can, right?
And speaking of Mr. Santos, did you see his standing ovation he got at camp the other day?
Well, it's because of that reaction from the Packers.
And he did that little
airplane. He won over Bears fans' hearts to do what he did, winning that game in Lambeau for the first time in years. Mike Ross has joined the show. He says, I really don't want to worry every time there is a 40-plus yard field goal. I agree with you, Mike. I'm right there with you, man. I'm with you.
This was a problem last year, and I'll tell you, I don't think this is one. I mean, if you go to the Lions, I think the Lions field goal kicker, or no, it's their punter. Never mind, it's not their field goal kicker. Their punter's undrafted free agent, and he has the highest.
Guys, look how crucial. Why do I always forget his name? The Chiefs kicker. Why do I always?
Harrison Butker.
Why? Look how crucial Butker was to those 3 Super Bowl runs. Look how crucial he was. I mean, guys, how many field goals that guy kicked over 50 yards, and it was every time it was a guarantee. As a matter of fact, there's a couple of them that he kicked.
Adam Vinatieri.
I'm like, bro, that could have been 70. Like that thing went over the goalpost at 55 yards. Yeah. Like it can't be that big of a deficiency between our kicker and their kicker. Like, obviously, there's going to be a kicker who can kick further than anybody else in the NFL, but ours should not be like, yeah, well, they can't all kick 65, but. Yeah, well, you can't have one that kicks 45 as a max either.
I think 40 might
somewhere in the middle.
But I do love Santos, man. I you know what, for everything, he's a good dude and he's good around the community. He just doesn't have the strongest.
Yeah,
it's nothing against the guy. No, but I'm with you. You know who I want? I want the kid from Dallas. That dude, they will put him on the field to kick a 70-yarder, and there's a good chance he'll make it. Brandon Aubrey has one of the greatest legs I've ever seen in my life.
Well, dude, Sean, I don't know if you guys ever scroll through Instagram or any of these social media and they facets, and they have like videos of these high school kickers, college kickers. They're like, these guys are all kicking 55, 65, 70-yard field goal. Like high schoolers, they're like, look at this. He just set the high school record with a 67-yarder. But the Chicago Bears NFL franchise kicker can't kick longer than 45. That's ridiculous.
And there's a lot. Here's
Look,
the thing: there's a lot of stadiums that are covered now and on AstroTurf. So that means no environmental things to combat, and you still can't kick a 55-yarder on average. That's what's bad about it to me. And then you add the fact that we have two of the toughest, north weather stadiums in our division that we got to play twice a year. So you really, really, really need a good kicker that's accurate and can kick those long balls. It's not easy at Lambeau, and it's really not easy at Soldier Field.
And Foster, Dustin, we all understand we all are giving. Nobody's taking away. He's accurate when he's inside the 40-yard line. Nobody's taking away from him. He's a very accurate kicker. There's no doubt about it. But part of the reason he came out and said part of that reason that kick was blocked against Green Bay is because he had to kick it at such low trajectory because he needed to be basically a straight line shot because it was a far field goal. You can't deal with that shit if you're going to be a team that's on the verge of making the playoffs. One missed field goal could be the difference between 9-8. Or 10-7, guys. That could kick you out of the playoffs.
How many games did the Bears lose by less than a touchdown?
Yeah, if you have a guy, we lost 8 one-score games last year. If you have a guy in the building who's in training camp right now, and Jonathan Kim, who's by all accounts is kicking 55, 60-yard field goals and scoring them, I don't care how much you're paying Cairo Santos. You keep that guy here and let Santos go elsewhere. And like I said, I wish nothing but the best. And by all accounts, he's a very good dude. But if you want to be one of the best franchises in the NFL, you need to address every tiny single detail. How that your kicker not being able to kick a 50-plus yard field goal is not a tiny detail to me. That you're talking about taking points off of the board.
100%.
This is not a tiny detail. And you know what? This is not the first time this conversation came up, guys.
I was going to say we've talked about this a couple times
since last season, since midway through last season. This has been talked about.
Yeah, what's up, Samo? Thanks for jumping in.
What's up, Samo?
Buster says I got no problem upgrading for sure. He's a 90% kicker. We can get better at kicker. I just think that we can find an accurate. I think you can find an accurate kicker that can kick distance because, like Kyle said, if we have to punt because we can't kick a 55-yard field goal.
And then you lose by 2 points.
And then
that's
you lose by
concerning.
That's a big problem.
That's incredibly concerning. And
that's
something that cannot happen. And Ryan Poles can't let that happen. And I think that's why they brought competition in for Cairo Santos. If they were so in love with Cairo Santos, why would Jonathan Kim be in the building?
Yeah. I'm with you. Oh, boy. We love you, TB17. But back off.
Samo's back in the building. What's going on, man?
Shamar might be a bust. And,
Sean, real quick. So Samuel says the bigger issue with Santos is his kick direct trajectory, in my opinion. Yeah, that's what we were just talking about. That's why that kick was blocked by the Green Bay Packers. I mean, he's kicking line drives instead of, kicking high kicks. It's because I think that he has to do that in order to kick for further distance. I think that's the only way he can score long field goals. And that is an issue. That's a problem.
And Erica must have missed it, but his name is Jonathan Kim, and that's who we were talking about as the FA that the Bears brought in. And go check out his tape. He's Michigan State, right? He was Michigan State, if I remember correctly.
I believe, yeah. He started somewhere else and then went to Michigan State. And you guys, listen, Jonathan Kim had his problems in college, but his last year at Michigan State, he got really, really good. And that's the reason that Ryan Poles brought him here. And since he's been here, they're like, man, he looks really good. Since they brought him here, they're like, he looks really good. So, and you look at all these people in the comments here, guys. They're saying, I wanted to replace Santos last offseason. I certainly have no problem replacing the kicker. I mean, all these people in the comment chat are agreeing with us. I mean, like, I want this organization to be one of those organizations that's like, hey, let's address every single tiny issue that we can. Let's perfect the art of football. Let's be one of the best organizations in the NFL. Every position is we have high standards for everything. And you know what? My guess is they're probably going to leave this decision up to Richard Hightower. At the end of the day, it's probably going to come down to him. But if Jonathan Kim comes in here and continues to have a good field goal percentage from 50 and beyond, that would be my kicker going into the season. Or maybe you could do that thing the Falcons did when, what was his name? The guy was Morton Anderson, who was like 78 at the time. They had an inside the 40 kicker and an outside the 40 kicker. You remember that?
Yeah. Hey, really quick, Dante Purify, we're putting you on the board for best quote of the day. We'll just have to shut down all the massage parlors around town.
Nobody's touching Justin Tucker. He's touching a lot of people, but nobody's touching Justin Tucker.
All right, Sean. Sorry, I didn't want to get too deep into the kicker battle there. I think it's funny that nobody's talking about it, but I believe it's just as open as the cornerback 2 competition. Something I wanted to talk about.
JP Richardson, we talked a little bit about him on Monday, the 5'11", wide receiver from
195 pounds. Yeah.
You know what? If he does, I think he'd be a gunner on special teams. But when you look at that wide receiver room,
It's way too deep.
Devin Duvernay, DJ Moore, Roma Dunze,
Olamide Zacchaeus. Yep.
I mean, it's going to be tough for him to make it. Maybe a practice squad guy. I don't know. But when we went through the roster, we decided that the wide receiver room was probably the deepest on this roster. So I don't know. I like what he's doing, but Kyle brought up a great point on Monday. Don't want to get too carried away with a wide receiver in training camp because everyone remembers the one guy, Tanner Gentry. He was the preseason superstar for like 3 years in a row. Everyone's like, this guy's got to get on the field. He's got to get on the field.
And then he got on the field and he couldn't get open if he put a gun to his head because he was a slow, tall white guy who didn't belong playing in the NFL. Training camp is not live action football, guys. It's not. And I love these stories. And you know what? We've seen guys like this before be good in the NFL. Wasn't Julian Edelman he wasn't a super high pick, was he? He was like one of those guys, Edelman or Welker, or I forgot which one of those little tiny guys was a undrafted free agent or very late round pick and ended up having a great career in the NFL. Who's the guy who played for Miami? Who's the guy who played for Miami?
Wes Welker.
No, not that guy. Later
Danny
on.
Amendola?
I think they all play for Miami.
Danny Amendola?
No, it was another. It was more recently, but he was the guy. I don't think he was drafted, and he ended up having a pretty decent career in the NFL. He was a tiny little white guy. I forgot his name, man, but he played for the Dolphins. But yeah, I mean, maybe JP Richardson ends up being that guy, that slot receiver who doesn't have to be huge. He's good at route running. He knows how to play football. He's football smart. But I just don't think this is the team. I mean, this wide receiver room is getting mighty crowded.
Kyle, it was.
And there's also 2 tight ends that can catch the ball too. I mean, there's
it was
a lot of people to feed.
Yeah, was he undrafted?
Wes Welker was not selected in the 2004 draft. Despite this, he went on to have a successful career with San Diego, Miami, New England, Denver, and St. Louis.
He had a couple of Super Bowl games, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he had a couple of huge plays in the Super Bowl.
Hey, and I got nothing against JP Richardson, guys.
Neither do I.
It's just gonna. I mean, Boykin is still there, and if you're gonna use Boykin as a gunner, and you're gonna use Duvernay as a gunner, it's gonna be tough to get into that wide receiver room.
They like that Samari Torre kid. Tyler Scott was a 5th round pick. I mean, I mean, maybe a practice squad player, and then someday he gets his chance due to injury. But I just don't see how.
Ray Finkel.
Yeah, Bears fan for life says Danny Amendola. I don't know. They've all been on the Dolphins, all those little white receivers. But there was a guy that was more recent. It doesn't matter. It's not even worth looking up. But I forget his name. But he was fantasy relevant for like 1 year. It wasn't Amendola. It wasn't Welker. It wasn't Edelman. I forget his name. But I think he played for the Bengals maybe as well.
Danny Amendola also not drafted.
Yeah.
So
maybe that's the next JP Richardson. Who knows?
It very well could be.
Yeah.
And you know what? Samo says JP Richardson is better than Tyler Scott.
Probably.
Braxton Berrios.
Braxton Berrios.
That's good job, Jay.
Jay, way to come in the clutch.
It's starting to bother me.
I don't think that guy was drafted either, was he? Was Braxton Berrios drafted?
I doubt it.
Razzle.
Yeah, it's tough for those guys to get drafted. Most of those guys don't get invited to the combine because they're not super fast and they're not super big. So, but yeah, I mean, some guys just have the heart, man. We've seen it before. Some guys make a career off of just loving football and playing their ass off every single play. And maybe JP Richardson's one of those guys. I just think of all the teams in the NFL, like if he was on the Steelers right now, he'd probably make the 53-man roster.
Braxton Berrios was a 6th round pick, 210
late round.
2018.
Kyle, by the way, all I did was Google white guy receiver on the Miami Dolphins.
Really? I'm surprised 19 names didn't pop up. I feel like they go after all of them.
Yeah, they've all been on there.
Yeah.
Tommy Waddle. Yeah, Tommy Waddle was my guy.
Yeah.
I don't know, was Tom Waddle drafted?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was drafted. Tom Waddle's not small, though.
No, Tom Waddle was a big guy, and I love Tommy Waddle.
He's not a small guy. He's a pretty big
Tommy
dude.
Waddle was undrafted in the 89
Oh, he was. Sean, how big is Tom Waddle?
He's got like 6'2".
How big is he?
Tommy Waddle is
Waddle.
6'185".
No, so he was a small guy.
And you want to know what? You know what's funny about that? That's about the size of JP Richardson. He's 5'11", 185. So
Listen, guys, it would be an awesome story if you made this team and he became like a permanent slot here because he was the shit and he was awesome and he was the next Julian Edelman. Of all the teams in the NFL, this is one of the toughest teams to make. That's the deepest room the Bears have right now, if you ask me. I think the wide receiver room is the deepest room they've got.
yeah,
I like what anthropology says here. He says shorter quickness more useful than straight line speed. In some scenarios, yes, 100%, especially for quarterbacks who aren't good at throwing downfield.
Yes.
And JP Richardson, he's okay. He had a 4. Someone said straight line speed. He had a 4.5 40. Not. I mean, that's David Montgomery's 40. That's Kyle Monungai's 40. So
Yeah, or you could have somebody like Tyreek Hill who's amazing at both short area quickness and straight line speed.
Yeah.
Dane Zazenbacher, AC. That is a
Yes.
Yep.
I love Mr. Zazenbacher.
There's another one. There's another one.
Dane Sanzenbacher was the white guy on the Bears. That was yes. That's
There's
a
another
good
one.
pull, AC.
Yeah, hell yeah. Waddle the Warrior. Yeah, straight line speed is literally all that Scott has. I'll be honest, man. I was fooled by Tyler Scott. I watched him at Cincinnati. I watched his tape when he got drafted by the Bears. I thought they found something late in the 5th round. He just hasn't panned out here in the NFL, unfortunately for him. Maybe something comes up this year for him. Maybe the old regime just.
You haven't heard about him in camp? The coaching staff isn't talking about him?
No. You hear JP Richardson's name, but you don't hear Tyler Scott.
I think Tyler Scott's just a guy. And Mike Ross, this is not even a question. He says, who is the GOAT white wide receiver? It's Cooper Kupp, man. I mean, it's not even a question. Cooper Kupp and then probably Jordy Nelson. But Cooper Kupp was one of the best receivers. He'll go down as one of the top 30 receivers ever to play football, man. Cooper Kupp.
I'll tell you a little.
He won the triple crown of receiving, dude. I mean,
when he was healthy, he was unstoppable.
Yeah, if you go into
I like Bears fan for life, though.
That's a good one. That's a good one too. Fan for life. Love me some white receivers. I hope JP Richardson makes this squad now. Now he's got my vote.
Wes Welker, very good.
Dustin says Wes Welker. I'd take Cooper Kupp in his prime over Wes Welker in his prime.
Oh, God, 100%.
Didn't you said he won a triple crown, Jason?
Who?
Cooper Kupp?
Yeah, he was he had the most receiving touchdowns, receptions, and yardage or whatever.
Well, I didn't even know that. But yeah, he's Cooper Kupp when he was in his prime was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything. I think Wes Welker was really great.
Oh, for sure. I love Wes Welker. I love Julian Edelman too, man. Yeah. I like Julian Edelman as a person. You go watch his podcast. He's awesome, dude.
Dude, he is pretty funny.
He's awesome.
I don't know if Julian Edelman was drafted. I mean, you never know. Yeah, 7th round. Was a 7th round pick by New England. Wow. They found a gem.
Kyle. So yeah, he led the league in this is Cooper Kupp. He led the league in receptions, 145, receiving yards, 1,947, and receiving touchdowns, 16.
Yeah, that's a
2021 season.
Insanely beast.
Yes, it's really good.
That's insane.
You want to know?
That's black guy numbers.
I love it, dude. And McCaffrey. Jesus, dude. Let's get more white. We're gonna do an all white. We're gonna do a top 10 white wide receiver show coming up really soon, folks.
I don't know how we'll go over. What do you call a white receiver? A receiver, you're right. Yeah, I mean, Wes Welker has better career numbers, but he played a lot longer than Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, he did. Cooper Kupp can't start. And I love Don Beebe. Don Beebe, I believe, is an Illinois native, Chicago native, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so Cooper Kupp could catch these numbers if he plays another 2 years in the NFL. He will surpass Wes Welker in everything. So Wes Welker has 903 receptions, 9,924 yards, and 50 touchdowns in what? 10 seasons?
Another 10 one. Good job, Laz.
Cooper
He's
Kupp
the Bears all time. Yeah,
634 receptions. Oh, so he's not going to catch him in receptions, but he already has more touchdowns, and he's definitely going to catch him in yards for sure. So Wes Welker will have the most receptions, and Cooper Kupp will have more yards, and he already has more touchdowns. He's already got.
What's his nuts on? Is he still on Carolina? He was on Minnesota forever.
Oh, Adam Thielen.
Yeah, you know what I'm feeling?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
but
Phil brings up a good one, although it's Lad McConkey, not
I mean,
Phil
Dustin, I just told you, Cooper Cup's going to pass Wes Welker in yards, and he's already passed him in touchdowns. The only thing he's not going to beat him in is receptions. I mean, you can't say that that's like a concrete case. Like this guy has more touchdowns and is going to have more yards. Like, how can you be like he's so much better? Well, then how does he have more touchdowns than yards? He's going to have more. He's
Listen,
going
we
to finish
talked
with
about
more
Welker
yards
first.
than Wes Welker.
I
like Wes Welker.
Yeah, I mean, here I think personally, and you guys here, anybody in the chat, Dustin, chime in. Cooper Kupp, in my time, is one of the purest, best route runners I've ever seen.
Just prime Cooper Kupp, I think, is better than prime Wes Welker. Just for me personally,
100%.
and I don't. Wes Welker never won a triple crown, guys. I mean, Cooper Kupp did, and you guys, Jordy Nelson's numbers are. He has
Jordy Nelson
way more touchdowns than Wes Welker.
Jordy
Way
Nelson,
more touchdowns than Wes Welker, and right behind him in yardage too. Jordy Nelson is right there, guys. He has. Wes Welker just had the most receptions, but his average yards per reception were very small.
Hold on, and Wes Welker, and you can disagree with me if you want. He's a product of a system with the greatest quarterback to ever play the game. He was schemed open quite often. Jordy Nelson, Cooper Kupp, to me, they're different level, elite tier wide receivers in the NFL. I'm not saying.
God, can you guys imagine Cooper Kupp if he spent his 10 years with Tom Brady?
Oh my God!
Well, wait, hang on a second, guys.
He might be one of the greatest receivers ever.
If you imagine that.
Who said Don Hudson? Somebody in the chat said Don.
I mean, but are you guys bringing up guys who are from like when did Don Hudson
Oh,
play?
sorry, Phil. I didn't know.
Dude, so there's 13 players. Only 13 receivers have ever won the Triple Crown. Well, it's happened. Well, 13 different players. 17 times it's happened. Don Hudson won it 5 times.
Yeah, but what era?
I don't fucking know how old the guy is.
Yeah, well, that's not fair. Like, was this when they invented the forward pass? Jason? You guys know who could be in this conversation for white receivers? Christian McCaffrey.
Oh, yeah, he had 100 receptions.
This guy's reception numbers have to be insane.
Wasn't that long ago? Don Hudson,
I think he's had 2 of them.
And look at this, Samo. You bring up.
What'd you say, Jason?
1936.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago. We're coming up on 100 years of Don Hudson.
So Samo,
he had 300 receiving yards, and
so Samo says absolutely. Cooper Kupp is a dog who only runs a 4.62 40. Proof that speed isn't the most important factor to wide receiver success. No, this guy was such a smooth route runner. Like
I'm telling you guys, I think Xavier Restrepo is going to be a decent player in the NFL. I'm telling you that, and he's slow. He's a very slow guy. He's very slow. Very slow.
But if you know how to scheme yourself, if they scheme you open, or you know how to get open, use your hands.
Fast enough to run for 1900
yards. Jabbing at the line and getting off the line and creating that separation. There's so many things that
it's just intelligent. He's just really Cooper Kupp is really intelligent. Xavier Restrepo seems to be. They just say he's a very good route runner because he knows how to use prowess. All right, let's move on to these running back rankings.
That's a good one, man. Ricky Prohl. There's another one.
Ricky Prohl is awesome, but he's not in the conversation for best wide receiver. But
hello. I think we lost Kyle. We lost Kyle there temporarily.
I thought
Chris
that was
Collinsworth. Chris Collinsworth can suck my butt.
We hope that it's done Wes Welker. Cooper. Obviously, Don Hudson from 1936.
And we did mention
24 too, Kyle. I mean,
someone in the chat did mention him, but I'm gonna mention him again. The Bears' all-time leading receiver, white guy, Johnny Morris.
What were Chris Collinsworth's numbers like? I don't.
Who cares?
Who cares? I hate that guy. I hate that guy. He brings down Sunday Night Football every freaking year, dude. Every year. I hate that guy so much.
Yes, he's terrible.
I can't stand listening to him. I wish there was a broadcast that I could sync up to the stream.
Him and what's his nuts, who's like 187 years old, still calling games on ABC.
No, but Broski, watch out for the next white Ricky, because I think Ricky Pearsall is going to have a damn good career in the NFL as well.
It's like Kyle talked junk about Prohl and was cut off. Laugh out loud. Is that true, Brandon? I did not know that. Chris Collinsworth owns a majority of PFF.
I did not know that either.
Yeah, I did not know that.
No wonder why nobody likes their stats.
Yeah.
I don't think he's doing the stats, Jason.
Whatever.
Samo, the other week, I broke out a Ricky Pearsall as one of my breakout players in 2025. I agree with you 100%. He's dealing with a hamstring injury right now, so he's not playing. There's something in the water for San Francisco wide receivers at the moment, but he is out. But
Could be Sean's keeper.
I did see Brandon Ayuk out there running today in individual drills. So
I'm telling you guys, I've been saying it since that was the first one who said that the Niners are going to win this division. They're going to be a good team. That schedule is way too soft for the San Francisco 40. Kyle Shanahan is going to destroy everybody on that schedule. I mean, it's scary. Especially if Christian McCaffrey is back, bro. That's scary. I think the getting rid of Debo and having Ricky replace him, Ricky Pearsall, made them better. Yeah. I think they got better.
Yeah, I 100% got better. I agree. Hey, and really quick, before we move on to these running backs, ladies and gentlemen, the Bears announced to honor, and I don't understand how this is honoring Virginia McCaskey, that they will use no alternative jerseys this year, and they will be donning this patch in her memory on their jerseys, but not using the alternate jersey. I don't understand how that honors.
No, they're going to use the blue and the white, but I guess what happened was there was a conversation. McCaskey explained this. He said, I was talking to my mom, and she said if it was up to me, I would just have the Bears always wear the navy at home and then the white at away. And he goes, Mom, it is up to you. You are the team. So, basically, I think as a little small tribute to his mom, they're going to put that patch on. And then for this year, they're just going to only do the navy and the white, which I think is a nice little homage. Honestly, she needs to have a permanent thing on the, where it says GSH for George S. House.
Yeah.
It should be on the other arm. It should have, or right underneath him or whatever, have her initials on it, because I mean, she was a part of the Bears for 100 years, dude, over 100 years. She was in the first football commercial ever. Dude,
you guys see that the Packers are one of their retro jerseys this year is the Illinois jersey.
Looks like the Bears.
Yes, it's the Fighting Illini jersey.
Yeah,
yes.
That's weird.
I can't wait for that.
The Packers are let's use that Illinois jersey. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Illinois, the University of Illinois is the one who created those hand-painted helmets that look like leather helmets. They're the ones who did that.
There's no listen, and then George Halas, who played for Illinois, gets a team and makes them look like Illinois. It's not a coincidence,
And absolutely, Phil. Rest in peace, Ozzy. Rest in peace, Rhino. And rest in peace, Hulkamania. It's been a rough week, man. It's been a really, really rough couple of weeks here.
3, yes.
Yeah, and Michael Madsen died July 3rd as well. I love that dude, and many.
Surprised he lasted as long as he did, though.
He was a wild man. He was a wild man. Ozzy too, though. When you think about it, I mean, he was.
Meanwhile, Keith Richards is 163 and still doing cocaine.
I'm sure Rhino did his fair share of partying as well, man.
I'm sure.
Major League Baseball player traveling the United States every single year. I'm sure he did plenty of drinking. All right, Sean, let's move on to these running back rankings.
All right, let's blaze through some fantasy football running backs, ladies and gentlemen. Jump in with us. They're wearing that patch all season in tribute. Very common practice in these situations for major sports teams. Yes, and Malcolm Jamal Warner, Theo Huxtable also was taken away by an undercurrent while he was swimming, I believe, in the Gulf of America. I believe that's what happened. So, hey, man, I'll tell you this right now. When I was in Florida and they were mapping out where we could go with our on Google Maps, where we could go with the wave runners, it's like Gulf of America on the map, dude. It's the Gulf of America now. I'm never calling it the Gulf of Mexico.
Well,
again.
I mean,
it's still the Redskins and it's still the Indians.
Regardless of what the Gulf is called, that is really sad, man. Just from that, a lot of these guys that we're talking about, guys, Ozzy, you talk about. Most of these are natural deaths, like deaths you expected, right? These guys are old; they've lived rough lives. For a guy like that, who's by all accounts in really good shape and is such a young man, to be to drown like that is terrible, absolutely terrible.
Hey,
I'm sure he still has relatively young children.
Let me address this really quick. Anthropology. I understand that there was that video of Hulk Hogan, and some people just took it and ran with it and said he was a racist. Booker T and Stevie Ray, who were the Harlem Heat, they came out today, and they were talking about the passing of Hulk Hogan. They said, our push and our rise to prominence was due to one man, and that was Hulk Hogan. He hated black people so much that he pushed the Harlem Heat to prominence in wrestling, where Booker T became a multiple-time champion on his own. That was due to Hulk Hogan. Everyone has their faults. Everyone has their flaws. Hulk Hogan no matter what you want to say
He
about him.
said something stupid, guys.
Yeah,
He said something dumb, but
could've
his actions spoke louder than words. Not only was he, but the woman that talked to him, there was a documentary made about Hulk Hogan. He was basically in a point where he was contemplating suicide, and a woman called him. I always forget her name. I wish I could remember. I'm gonna remember this for the next show. Called him and talked him off a ledge, and she ended up becoming basically his best friend. She's a black woman, guys. So like he obviously doesn't hate black people. He just was probably drunk and said something really stupid. And now it's like all the great things he's done in his life have been erased because of one stupid comment. Like it was dumb. He shouldn't have said that. That was dumb. It was disgusting comment. But at the end of the day, it sounds by all accounts like he was a very good person to me.
Hey, and I'll say this. Anthropology. There's a lot of people that feel like you out there. I understand it. I get it. And I respect your opinion on him. I didn't know the guy personally. I know how he helped shape my childhood. I grew up watching him. So
yeah, I'm not saying you can't excuse everything. He also needs to be held accountable for things he did wrong. But that was a long time ago, and he's dead now. So like it's probably time to just let all that stuff go. Like
and Joey Swole
he
can kiss my ass too.
He certainly didn't seem racist to me. I think he just said a really stupid comment once in his life that.
I mean, he was best friends with Dennis Rodman, dude.
Dude, I just told you his best friend in the world when he was in his later life before he passed was, I forget her name, but she's a black woman. That was his best friend in the world. He said it watch the documentary if you get a chance. All right, Sean, let's move on to these fantasy football rankings.
Hey, it's all good, Anthropology. Love you and respect your opinion 1,000,000%, brother. But yes, let's flip the page here. Rest in peace to everybody who passed away. Our thoughts and prayers are with you and your families, and our condolences at 4-Star Chicago Sports. So yes, running back rankings, guys. Our top 10s are going to look very similar. So
let's not spend a ton of time here.
No, I do though, because I'm away from everybody else when it comes to my number one guy.
Oh, look at that. That's a nice graphic, bro. Looks so good.
There's another one. Wait. I told you to send it to me. I would have got you one too. But as I put this up, I just wanted to say last year, Gibbs finished as RB2 overall last season. Montgomery was often the first back on the field. Okay. This year, he's going to be seeing a lot more passes. And let's just put it this way. If anything were to happen to Monty, you can look at Jamar Gibbs as probably having one of the greatest fantasy football seasons in the history of fantasy football. I'm going to tell you a couple of things about Gibbs right now. When Monty was out last year, he averaged 33.3 points per game. His ceiling with Monty on the floor on the field was 26.5 points. His median was 19.6. His floor was 15.3. This guy is a fantasy freaking monster, without a doubt. And when it comes to the fourth quarter, you don't see David Montgomery that often. He was on the field last year 70% of the time.
No, but they have a new offensive coordinator.
Well, yes. And what did this new offensive coordinator say? He's going to be playing in passing downs. He's going to be on the field with Montgomery, lining out wide and catching passes. For me, Gibbs is by far the number one fantasy running back. Not even close for me. Not even close. So,
if Barkley's healthy, it's probably going to be close.
I had him at 4, and I'll tell you why. I mean, we can't discount everything you said is true, Sean. I mean, I think he's a very dynamic running back. He's on a very good team, but I think we can't discount the loss of Zietler and Ragnow. You know, they're starting Tate Rallage, a rookie at center. They're probably going to start another rookie at guard. They do have Penei Sewell, probably the best right tackle in football. But, like Dan Skipper, who's got a 55. He's one of the guys they may start. Who else? There's a Tristan Colon, who's got like a 71 PFF ranking. Probably going to wind up being that starting guard. But if you're right, if Montgomery goes down, he's going to basically get the lion's share of carries, and he's going to be a fantasy stud for that week or however long that injury takes.
Oh, the lion's share, Jason, the lion's share. You guys need to stop.
The lion's share. Yeah. But I just man, it's really tough to lose 2 interior offensive linemen and assume your running game is going to be just as good as it was before.
I'll tell you, I'm not really worried. I'm not worried about Gibbs. I don't think God, I wish I had a number 1 pick, I would draft him today and say, well, I'll see you guys on draft day.
He's a top 5 running back for sure. I don't think you miss if you draft him number 1 overall or, in the top 5 picks. You're going to hit on that pick. I just don't. He's got a very good chance to be the number 1 running back. Let's put it that way. But I think a couple of guys on all of our lists do. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and you know what, Sean, if I'm drafting tomorrow, I'm probably taking Gibbs. The only reason I'm doing that though is because like we've talked about the statistics. It's almost impossible to have back-to-back 2,000-yard seasons and repeat this as the number 1 fantasy scorer. I feel like there's like a dark cloud hanging over Saquon Barkley, and he's due to regress or due for injury or something like that. I still like Jahmyr Gibbs, and Sean, you know that because I've had him on my fantasy team every year since I've joined your league. I love Jahmyr Gibbs, and when I traded him to Chris last year, that was the winner of the league. Jahmyr Gibbs won Chris the fantasy league. But just based off default, the fact that he had 2,000 yards rushing last year, 270 yards receiving, and 15 touchdowns, I'd probably still rank Saquon number 1. But my number 2 is Jahmyr Gibbs. And like I said, if I'm picking number 1 in fantasy, I'm taking Jahmyr Gibbs just because I don't like taking a guy who finished last season as the number 1 fantasy running back because it's just almost impossible to do. It's almost never been done to repeat it. Bijan Robinson is my number 3, and that's based off the ceiling. I think Bijan Robinson could end up being the best athlete at the position in the running back in these coming years. If you watch him in college, he was an absolute god. Derrick Henry's my number 4, guys. My number 5 is going to surprise you guys a little bit. I think Bucky Irving's going to end up being the top 5 fantasy running back this season. If you look at his numbers last year, and remember, we went over his carries per game last season. It was like 9, 10, 8, 9, 11. This year, it's going to be closer to 15, 17, 20, 22, 17, 18. He had 1,122 yards rushing and 392 yards receiving and 8 touchdowns. I think those numbers go up a ton this year. I think he's going to finish as number 5.
Hey, Kyle, and if I could jump on that really quick, when you talk about Bucky Irvin, he had over 1,500 yards last year. He was this year. I think he could be. I'm with you. I have him number 6 on my list. He averaged, when he became a starter, 21 fantasy points a game. He's going to be the guy this year behind a top 10 O-line. I'll just say if he
on a prolific scoring offense. I mean, an offense that's going to score like it's going out of style. I wouldn't be surprised if Bucky Irving adds 15 touchdowns to those 2,000 all-purpose yards this year. I think Bucky Irving has a chance to slip into the number 1 fantasy running back this season. He's an absolute beast. And then behind Bucky Irving at 5, I have Christian McCaffrey at 6. Obviously, you guys, Christian McCaffrey, I think, moves up all of our lists if you know for a fact he was healthy.
He looks really good right now.
Yep, he moves down our list if he only plays 8 games, like always. This one's going to surprise a little bit too, guys. At number 8, I'm going to put Ashton Genty there, and I'm just doing it based solely off the fact that I think he's going to touch the ball a ton. I think Ashton Genty is going to be the guy in Las Vegas. I think he's going to get the ball crazy. There's just nobody else competing with him there. Look at the running back room in Las Vegas. I mean, it's a joke. It's Ashton Genty and then everybody else. And behind him, I have Devon Achane, Josh Jacobs, and Chase Brown. I wanted to put Jonathan Taylor in there, guys. I really do. I think Jonathan Taylor is an amazing athlete, and I think he should be on that list. The problem is his quarterbacks are Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones, and I just don't think that offense is going to sustain a lot of drives. I don't think they're going to score a lot of touchdowns. I don't think he's going to have drives where it's like, oh, look at Jonathan Taylor, my fantasy team, just got me 46 yards rushing on that one drive, because they're not going to have a lot of those drives.
Yeah. You know what? He's basically, if you draft him, it's purely for rushing. He's not going to catch the ball. So he's not going to be a PPR monster. It's just a pure volume play. Whereas like Ashton Genty, also a volume play, is going to get a lot of catches as well. I mean,
and he had 11 touchdowns and 1,400 yards rushing last year, Jonathan Taylor, and they were bad, but I just don't. It's, to me, you just game in and game out basis. You don't know what you're going to get. That's the problem with Jonathan Taylor.
You hope he doesn't get hurt again.
So bad. If Anthony Richardson's their quarterback, I'm not touching anything on the Colts the entire season. I'm not picking anybody up. I'm not even drafting Michael Pittman, guys. He's not going on my team.
Yes.
If you look at Yahoo's rankings, Michael Pittman's still like wide receiver number, I think it's like 18, 19, 20, somewhere in there. Not for me. Not for me. He's not.
Yeah, and if I may, one guy that's not on this, and I moved him. I redid my rankings, and Dustin, I'm sorry, but your boy Judkins is off the list. He doesn't have a contract. Don't know if he's going to even be in the NFL next year. My guy, I mean, outside of Caleb Johnson, who we know, RJ Harvey, Genty, I think TreVeyon Henderson has an opportunity here to jump into the top 10. And I should have probably moved him up a little bit higher than 5.
You don't have Caleb Johnson at 2.
No, he's on there.
He's on there. He's 4.
At 2.
I have RJ Harvey. Well, I did this list.
Caleb Johnson's going to be a
Listen,
beast.
I did this list before J.K. Dobbins was signed. And
Even still, though, Caleb Johnson, there's just no
Caleb-
competition. They expect him to be
I'll be
dog
honest,
cow.
Kyle. I'll be honest, Kyle. I think all 4 of these guys are going to be really tough, and I'll tell you why I have RJ Harvey, and I'm okay with keeping him at number 2. He's in a Sean Payton offense. We saw Sean Payton run 2 1,000-yard receivers or running backs with Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram. He's running behind what was the second best run blocking offensive line last year. Both of these guys are going to get run. I think J.K. Dobbins is a solid pick. It's going to be hard to handcuff him with RJ Harvey. But if you look at what he did, with the Chargers last year, he only played 13 games. He had 900 rushing yards, 100 receiving yards, and he had 8 touchdowns combined between rushing and receiving. So Dobbins was still able to produce 1,000 yards in 13 games behind this line with RJ Harvey, and RJ Harvey being Quadzilla. Look at those fucking things. Jesus Christ. This guy's going to truck your ass. I think both of them are going to be very good, but I do agree with you, Kyle, that I probably should have moved Caleb up, but I still do think that our boy Jalen Warren is going to have a lot of play out there, especially on third down. Not that Caleb Johnson can't handle it,
So
but he's just not going to disappear out of that offense either.
my thought process, guys, is that I think Caleb Johnson's going to get the exact same amount of play that what's his name had when he was drafted to the Steelers 3 years ago. Najee Harris. But here's the difference. And Najee Harris had 1,300 rushing yards and like 400 receiving yards and like 12 or 13 touchdowns or something like that in his rookie season. But the difference is Caleb Johnson's better than Najee Harris. So if he gets the same opportunity, 100%. You're looking at 1,500 yards rushing, 600 yards receiving, and 15 touchdowns. That's a top 10 fantasy running back, and he's a rookie.
Now, I will go back to my original point with TreVeyon Henderson. I think I'm starting to think even higher than Caleb Johnson with his upside, and I'll tell you why. Hampton and Caleb Johnson are dogs. Don't get me wrong, elite athlete types, workhorse backs. They don't have that skill set that TreVeyon Henderson has. TreVeyon Henderson is a splash play waiting to happen, and he's going to be an integral part of that New England Patriots offense. I watched him at Ohio State for his 4 years. When this guy is healthy and on the field, he is explosive and he's amazing. I wish he would have became a Bear, to be honest with you.
I think that's who they wanted.
I think it is who they wanted, but New England just drafted before him and took him. But there was still in that draft a lot of running backs that the Bears could have had Caleb Johnson. They could have had Devin Neal. They could have had a lot of different running backs.
And Dustin says he's coming around to thinking that Mario Hampton could be number 1 on the list. And again, when it comes to Hampton, I like Hampton. I like
Hampton too. I like all of them. All those top 5 guys are going to be good in fantasy. All of them.
A good skill set. But when you talk about when you're in half-point PPR, full-point PPR, Hampton's not going to get you those points. Or TreVeyon Henderson, he's going to be getting you the rushing attempts. He's also going to be getting you those pass attempts. He's going to be getting you those half-point or full-point PPR points. I just think it's on a different level, especially if he's used in the dynamic role that I think he's going to be used.
He's more explosive with the ball in his hands.
Well, I'm glad that we've all can agree that there's no doubt that Ashton Genty is going to be.
You know, I looked at this. Punch. Kyle, you like the stats. So, like, in the last 20 years, a rookie has only made the top 10. Like, every year, the top 10, 6% of the time, a rookie, like, makes the top 10 or something like that. So, it's not very – it's a couple of times 2 have hit, but usually it's only 1.
Yeah, but what you're looking for is how they're playing when you're going into
this year we could have 3 rookies
playoffs and championship. 10. Like the first 5-6 weeks of the season, you may not get a ton out of Ashton Genty or Marion Hampton, but when you get to the nitty-gritty of a fantasy season, you're getting down in the playoff. The Bucky Irving, exactly. And they're like, you know what? Instead of those 9 carries a game or 7 carries a game or 11 carries a game or 8 carries, let's give this guy 22, which is exactly what happened with Bucky Irving last year in Tampa. You're going to see the same thing happen with a lot of these guys. That's when they become more important. And I have no problem
100%.
drafting Caleb Johnson or drafting Omarion Hampton or drafting Travion Henderson and sticking them on my bench to week 5. And then week 5, all of a sudden you got Jahmyr Gibbs and Travion Henderson, and Henderson's getting those 22 carries a game. You're looking pretty good.
Too, and to Dustin's point here, Warren's being slept on way too hard. This guy doesn't sleep on Jalen Warren. Kind of will tell you, I profess.
Yeah, I drafted him last year in one league, and Sean drafted him in the other league. We both.
I had him in.
Jalen Warren shouldn't have been used last year. I was pissed off he wasn't used last year.
I had him in all 3 leagues I was in last year. I had him in Nerd League, I had him in Boobs, and I had him in Brandon's League. I had him in all 3 leagues I was in.
But he's not going to be a bell cow.
I think you had him in Brandon's League. I think I had him in Brandon's League.
I had him in Brandon's League. You had him in Boobs.
Are you sure?
Positive.
I thought I had him in all 3 of my leagues.
Yeah, you got mad at me.
I love Jalen Warren.
You got mad at me for drafting him. Yeah, the thing that scares me about Jalen Warren is Najee Harris sucks, and they didn't use him much last year.
Yeah. Well, he was hurt
suck.
to start the season, to be fair. He was hurt to start the season, and he missed a bunch of time at the beginning of the year. Well, he was getting healthy, twisted his ankle, and had a high ankle sprain and coming in at the end of training camp.
Yeah, so, is this a recent V-Dog? Everybody's been chewed out by Don Johnson.
Yes, that is true. Yeah. And he did beat Gordon out on a pretty good route
today. V-Dog, he scored a touchdown today, and he beat Kyler Gordon, one of the best corners on the Chicago Bears. I think Luther Burden is could get to the point where he's almost unstoppable. If you can utilize and maximize that skill set, he's one of the most dangerous players in the NFL.
Yeah, I agree. I agree, and we're going to see this. We're going to see this a lot, and if we continue to move on down this list, because we don't want to beat up too much, but the big news today was Zach Moss was cut, and guys, Chase Brown, I think, is going to be.
I love Chase Brown.
That's why he made my top 10.
Yeah, I think he can end up by the end of the year being in the top 5. But I'm going to say this, and I mean this wholeheartedly: Taj Brooks is a stud, and I think he's going to have a role.
Kidding me?
He's going to have a role in this offense for Cincinnati.
Sean.
What's up?
Breaking news, Bruce.
Oh my God.
Is that Owen Casey? Bruce, do you have any idea what they gave up for this Jamoke?
Michael Soroka sucks ass, dude.
He's terrible, bro.
He sucks ass. Hey, well, the Mets and Phillies are competition are acquiring top closers. We take Michael Soroka. Yeah, awesome.
So we took a picture from a team that's like, we're keeping our good players, and that team sucks.
Oh my God, I can't even do this with the my God. This guy has a 487 earned run average this year, dude. Oh my God.
I don't know. What's more important to me is what was traded for him, bro. That's what's scary.
Oh, they gave up PCA.
Jay, I will punch you in the face through the computer.
Back to Chase Brown. The guy is actually a beast, Sean. You're right. I mean, he had a pretty good second half and a really good season overall. But on that high-powered offense, he's going to get the ball a lot. I mean, he had like 54, 55 receptions last year and like 400 receiving yards. Not to mention his rushing numbers. I think it was just under 1,000. But, dude, he's going to get the ball a lot and often. Now, I know Taj is really, really good as well, but that offense is going to be cooking, and that's one of those, Phil, that's a team that's got plenty of food to go around for everybody.
I can't even do this. I can't even do this.
No, Jason, I agree with you 100%. Yeah, Sean, this is what I expected. I expect them to make
Michael fucking Soroka
small, tiny. But if you look at the metrics, apparently he has had some bad luck. He plays
he's got a 113 whip, but this is
part of a terrible defense.
This isn't the guy. I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, Soroka's starting today. We're going to win this one. Yeah, no, that's not going to be my feeling. No.
Well, I just read one of the best tweets I've ever read in my entire life, bro.
We just fucking acquired Colin Ray, dude.
Cubs
That's
World.
What we got.
This is what Cubs World says. Hold on.
Erica, where are you?
All right, Sean, Cubs World on Twitter says, Cubs just traded for Michael Soroka, who has a 4.87 ERA. I thought we were supposed to be upgrading our pitching staff, not fucking making it worse. God damn it. Maybe he has had bad luck and he plays in front of a bad defense and he'll look better on the Cubs, but this is certainly not a guy who just made you a World Series contender by any means necessary, dude. Like, unless they plan on making some huge trade tomorrow, like if Joe Ryan's come over tomorrow, then then you're talking about this team got a lot better. But that's not what I expected.
Oh my God.
As long as it wasn't like Owen Casey, like it better be somebody I've never heard of.
No, I just.
All right. Anything else you guys want to talk about Bears wise before we get out of here, man? Because we've taken up enough of these beautiful people's time.
No, really quick too. One more guy I got for you here. A great handcuff, and you guys might want to get this guy on your team because one guy does miss time a lot, and that is one Jonathan Taylor. Don't leave your drafts without DJ Giddens, man. I know he's a Kansas State product, and I preach against Kansas State taking anything, but this guy, he reminds me a lot of Le'Veon Bell. He has elite patience, great footwork, and he's going to be a top handcuff. If anything happens, and something happens to Jonathan Taylor, he misses about 3-4 games every year. This guy, I promise you, he will not skip a beat. I know, Kyle, you're not a big fan of the Indianapolis offense.
Yeah, he misses 3-4 games every year because he doesn't want to play. They're like, what's your injury? He's like, nothing.
You guys got any others?
I would look out for Chuba Hubbard. Chuba Hubbard, I think, is going to have a pretty good year. I don't know if he's going to crack number 1 spot here, but
Jason,
he can sneak his way into number 10.
He was on my fantasy bust list.
Was he?
Yep. I like what's his name that went to Carolina from the Dallas. I like that guy a lot, dude. What's his name?
Tony Pollard?
No. The guy that went to last year. He was on Dallas.
Rico Dowdle.
Rico Dowdle. I think Rico Dowdle is going to dig into Chuba Hubbard's workload a ton. Yeah, Sean, I don't dislike Jonathan Taylor. That season he had a few years ago was one of the best seasons I've ever seen by a running back in my life. He's amazing. He's a great athlete. He's a good running back. He's just stuck and literally the worst. That offense is abysmal. It's abysmal. Dude, you guys, Anthony Richardson averaged like 13 completions a game last year. So I mean, the running back gets 1, receivers get 5, tight ends get 5. I mean, that's a joke.
Can I give you one more before we get out of here? Because he's my diamond in the rough. I know everyone loves Kyren Williams, but don't sleep on Jacquez Hunter, Auburn running back. This guy is going to be a gem in fantasy football. Let Les Snead, the GM, go watch that draft film, was pounding the table. They traded up to get this guy. They wanted him. Kyren Williams, yes, he's been fantastic in fantasy football. There's 2 things that he lacks: lateral quickness and burst. Both are in. Hunter has them both.
If Sean's right about rookie running backs, every team in the NFL next year is going to have a new starting running back. Every single team.
Dude, I'm going to tell you this right now. This is Kyren Williams last year. Jacquez Hunter, especially if you're in these dynasty leagues, he is the future. And I personally think at some point this year, you're going to see this guy massaged into the offense. And as we talk about running backs, that, you trickle down the line, week 8, 9, 10, anything happens to Kyren Williams, this guy could definitely be a fucking league winner. I'm telling you, watch out for this guy. Jacquez Hunter, Auburn running back.
Yeah, Vernon, thanks a lot for that news. That's
cash only deal.
Yeah, please God, I hope it's just cash only. They didn't get rid of a good player for him. And then V-Dog, I did not know that. I appreciate you breaking that news too, man. He says, according to Jeremy Fowler today, he said Daniel Jones is leader in the clubhouse that started for the Colts. I would hope so. If I were the Colts, I would cut Anthony Richardson. I would cut him. He is not a good player. He's not. He's not a good player. He's not.
And I say it every week. Don't forget about Ja'Cory Crosby Merritt. Love that guy.
On the Commander.
Love that guy.
All right. I want to say thank you, man, to everybody in this chat. You guys have been absolutely amazing for our last month. You guys,
yes,
how often you guys chat, you can comment, and these conversations go in different directions. It makes the show so much easier. It makes it so much more interesting. Dustin, Brandon, obviously big parts of 4-Star Chicago Sports are breaking news, Bruce as well, but Anthropology, V-Dog. Let's see who else was here today, man. Bears fan for life, TB, Samo, Ricky or Dante, Mike Ross, AC Adam, Broski Bear, Foster,
Samo.
I'm sure I'm missing somebody here, man.
Erica?
Everybody, Lindsay watched the show today. Erica's in the chat. Erica, you're one of our absolute loyal favorites. Yeah. Everybody here, man. We appreciate you guys so much. Always fun talking football with you guys for the next few weeks here over the span of training camp and preseason. We're just going to be shooting the shit with you guys about the Bears. We're talking about how these camp battles play out, so on and so forth. Make sure you guys check in tomorrow night. The Bare Minimum
Bare
podcast,
Minimum.
11:30, right, Sean?
11:30.
11:30. So if you guys are
Burning that
still up,
midnight oil with Dustin
Well,
and Brandon, one of their
yeah.
personal favorites. And I think they missed this comment. John S. on Monday said he absolutely loves the late night show. You guys,
yeah, dude, and their numbers, they're
That's
killing it, guys. I mean, they get a lot of attention there on the Bare Minimum. So go check it out. Those guys are always kind of free flow. It's always a good conversation, always fun to listen to. And then Sean and I will be back on the Northside 9 podcast at noon, even though we don't know anything about the Cubs and we're all stupid and we don't know shit about Cubs baseball.
Yeah.
One of the nice comments left on our shows earlier this week, guys. I'm just kidding. Obviously, Sean and I
did someone leave that comment?
Yeah, Sean and I are entrenched in Chicago Cubs baseball. I think we watch more baseball than the average Cubs fan.
I mean, you guys didn't see how Sean just got depressed after that acquisition. I mean, you're telling me he's not invested in the Cubs.
You guys should sit down. You guys should sit down with Sean and watch a game. I can tell you, nobody loves the Cubs and hates the lows more than this guy right here. I promise you that. But
I'm with that, Jerry.
I'm gonna have a heart attack one day.
I don't care what that guy said in the comments. I don't give a shit. I was just
Chicago sports is going to give me a heart attack one day. They've already gave me 3 ulcers. They were Blackhawks, Bears, and Jayhawks.
Yeah.
Bruce, thanks for the breaking news as always, man. I appreciate it, dude. Always stay on top of it. Jason, Sean, love you boys. Anything else you want to say before we get out of here?
Yeah, let's do that. And where is it? Oh, I
Wait
lost
for
it.
it. Wait for it.
Fuck Green Bay! Fuck Green Bay! Fuck Green Bay! Fuck Green Bay! Fuck Green Bay!
Fuck Green Bay! Fuck Green Bay! Fuck Green Bay! Yes, sir!
Where is that?
That was at that summer concert that they went to, Summerfest or whatever it was.
It's weird how they have like an upper deck there. I don't remember that at Summerfest. Was that new?
It's not. It wasn't Summerfest. It was in Chicago. It was at some concert in Chicago. He was with that model. I can't remember.
No, I wasn't hanging out with him that night.
Yeah. Hey everybody, we love you. I appreciate you. Bear down, and we'll see y'all back here on Monday or Saturday and Monday. And check out Dustin and Brandon tomorrow night. Peace and bear down, everybody.
Peace.
Good show,